Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 72 of the OG Technically Trek. I am your humble host, Dave Prime, and over there, welcome back, is Captain Katie. She's feeling a lot better than she did last week. How's it going, my dear?
I'm alive. I'm
That's,
alive.
that is always a
Um,
plus.
yes, which is a very big feat considering all the fairground rides I went on yesterday. So if my voice starts to go, you know why. I've been screaming a lot. But no, I'm doing okay, and I do apologize for missing last week's show. But I also thank Travis, my absolute darling, for stepping in and covering for me.
He always good to have a co-host that knows Trek almost, well, maybe just a little more than I do. But it's always a good thing. And once again, just my week. As I was kind of sharing backstage, I gashed my finger while dislodging the vacuum at the car wash yesterday. Took a pretty good chunk out of it and just like, ow. It was fine for a minute, then it just started getting all bloody and stuff. I was like, ay, ay, ay. But yeah, I definitely had a bit of a crabby day. But over the weekend, we got a new resident moved into the complex for possibly getting a new internet provider. So we'll see how that pans out. So that's been darn it. That's been my week in a nutshell. Mm. But before I forget, just got to give a big shout out to my our partner W Energy Drinks. I brought the cute little tumbler back. Say I wish he was real because I would date him. But they got
I
a lot of
still
great.
don't understand that.
Understand what?
How you would
He's
date a
cute.
cartoon?
But if you go to w.gg and put in the code TechTrek, TEKTREK, most of your purchases, if as long as it's not a bundled product, say all the tubs are good for a month. So just one scoop every day for 30 days. You got a month's supply of energy drinks. It gives you all the pep without the crash at the end. So it's great for watching podcasts. It's also great for when you're like really cranking out the games and whatnot. And and yeah, so w.gg tech trek it is the code, and hopefully my allergies don't just kick the crap out. I just realized I forgot to make one little change. Let's see here.
Oh, but also, Dave, according to the graphics, it's episode 73, not 72.
Oh crap. That's next week's tag. So whoops. Um, Getting a little ahead of myself. Let's just do that. We'll go. Say when you're in a rush and you don't pay attention to what the frick you're clicking.
I just think that my ditziness is rubbing off on you after
Quite
all these
possibly.
years. Just blame me. I don't mind. I really don't mind.
I say, but so one of the things I did ahead of time. There we go.
Hey!
A space adventure hour. The early days of the holodeck. It wouldn't be a holodeck episode if something didn't go wrong. Which I mean, things go wrong in a hurry in this episode. But you wanted to touch base on a few things from last week's episode since you were absent.
Yeah, I apologize, but I did actually watch the episode last week, and I really liked it.
But
I mean, first of all, I don't care if it was a production thing for the anti-grav scene. What the hell was going on with Una's hair and makeup? I am so sorry, but that is just that. I was bitching about it all the way through the episode. I ended up having to watch the episode again because I was bitching that much. And but no, I'm really glad that her hair and makeup are back to their usual this week. Because yeah, that was a little bit much.
Oopsie.
Oh. Um, sorry, I love Moopsy. But Yeah, and the what's going on with Ortegas, I knew as soon as she started getting really quite aggressive with her opinions, shall we say. I knew what she was going to do. I really hoped that she wouldn't. And then when she did, I was just like, no, please tell me you haven't just done that. And it turned out she had. So I was very upset with Erica, but I understood it from her point as well. But now I really did like that episode. I thought it was very well rounded. And who doesn't like zombies? I mean, I adore zombies. I really do. That they're just, you know. I think sometimes I actually prefer them to humans. In all honesty, but no, it was a good episode, and I just wanted to mention it. But yeah, now we will concentrate on this episode because I have a lot to bitch about this. And Dave, you are muted, by the way, sweetheart. Damn allergies! How rude! Be removed. Shoot, mush.
Yeah, that would be nice.
Yes.
But let's see, just getting that. Forgot to get one little thing updated. So we got that. So save and show. Yeah, saying so it wouldn't be a holodeck episode if things didn't go.
Absolutely, Tyson. I love that. Yes.
I was saying so. Anyone? Wow, we only have 4 viewers right now. That's rather disappointing. Saying usually we have about 15 or 20 at this point, so I don't know what's going on there.
I think I've scared them off.
Yeah, saying, but yeah, definitely. Travis brought up a good point. Be sure to like and subscribe to the channel. See, I think I even got a little doodad for that before it ever disappeared, though. There it is. Yay! A little like and subscribe. But yeah, we got a couple folks backstage. I was saying so. I am going to bring them all on. Say we got quite a few tonight. We got Zach, we got Travis, we got Tyson. How's it going, gentlemen?
Pretty good. Look at my last comment. I'm sure it's not true. I usually scare people off, but I'm just playing.
I'm right there with you too, my friend. You know, I was wondering if I scared people off last week.
Oh my God, Tyson's here! Zing, zing, zing! 1, 2, 0 viewers.
Real quick before we get started into talking about this episode and everything else, I want to give a pop culture, a little fun thing because we're all like the entertainment industry and stuff and everything. Just a real quick 3 things that I want to throw out to everybody.
Mm-hmm.
First of all, last Friday, a little fun fact about Friday to everybody. There was a movie that was released about almost 39 years ago. It was called Howard the Duck. It turned 39 on Friday.
Wow.
I just wanted to just throw that little fun fact out there about Howard the Duck movie. Also, too, that same day, way back before Howard the Duck, it was 1981. It was a little known show. It was, I don't know if you call it a show or something, but it was a show. It was debuted as music TV. It's better known as MTV. It debuted back on August 1st, 1981. And on a sad note, too, just want to give this out to also the other day, Lonnie Anderson, who is famous for being on Cincinnati, what's it, WKRP in Cincinnati. She passed away at the age of 79. And she was best known for her character from the some must not ditzy character from the secretary and stuff. She was also best known for public. She had a romantic relationship with Burt Reynolds. If anybody who knows Burt Reynolds, he was in Smokey and the Bandit and stuff in the movie in 1974 movie called Smokey and the Bandit and stuff and everything else. She went on to still. She was up until her last day and stuff like that. She was still acting and stuff and everything. So I just want to throw out those little three things about what's going on in the entertainment world right now and stuff and everything.
Family
thanks,
Guy did a
Travis.
little bit on that too, with Lonnie Anderson and what's his name, Smokey and the Bandit, as I recall.
Reynolds.
Burt Reynolds. Yeah, there was also today is the 235th birthday of one of our military services. I wonder which one. Which one would I have that kind of trivia on?
The Navy.
Yeah, the Navy.
Close. Coast Guard, of course.
Oh, the Coast Guard, of course. 235th birthday today. It was started as the U.S. Revenue Cutter Service in the year 1790, which later there was U.S. Life Saving Service, and then in I think it was in the 20s, the two joined, the Revenue Cutter Service and the U.S. Life Saving Service, to become the United States Coast Guard. So today is their 235th birthday. Happy birthday to them.
Okay,
Really excited about that. And by the way, the very first video on MTV was
Video killed the music. The
Video
Yeah.
killed the
Video
radio
killed the radio
star.
Yes.
Video killed the
That
radio
was-
star. One of my, and if you get a chance to
Mhm.
watch watch Sing It Live. This is an Australian group. Type Sing It Live, Video Killed the Radio Star. You will hear the best rendition that has ever been made. Better than the original. I guarantee you, better than the original. Sing It Live, Video Killed the Radio Star.
And actually, going along those lines, listening to Sirius XM, it's actually came out. It says that song came out in 1979.
Yes, it was a couple years old when MTV launched, but there had been music videos prior. There just never been a channel dedicated to music videos. So the Beatles had videos back in the 60s that you could watch a video, timed to their song. But really, it was the 80s, the year of the music video, when they got serious. Really cool.
Yeah, but this episode
real,
had
real quick too before you go on, Dave, and stuff like
Mm.
that. The actor that played Howard the Duck, he passed away back in May just recently and stuff and everything else. Ed Gale, something like that. He passed away. He was 61 years old.
And I actually have a steel-bound copy of the Blu-ray of Howard the Duck. I picked it up, I think, on the couple of years ago now, or it might have been last year. I forget. I saw it and it was on sale. It's like, yes.
I was never a fan of that movie. Or you could say I don't give a duck. I just wasn't.
But I do have to ask you though, Katie, did you watch this episode last week at all?
Did I watch? Sorry.
Did you watch last week's Technically Trek?
I haven't had a chance to watch it yet, sweet. I will be honest.
I was properly broken that episode. I had to mute and everything.
Yes, he was.
I was laughing so freaking hard.
Me and Zach,
Oh,
we broke Dave.
I'm definitely going to have to watch that. I've got a few things that I need to watch on YouTube, and that will be my first.
Wait a minute.
I
You
think
guys
it's
were
roughly-
laughing so hard that you had to mute Dave. You weren't showing pics of my body part, were you? I sent those to you, Travis, in confidence. I better not see them on the episode.
No, it was about at the 1 hour mark. So, but dang, we got to start talking about the episode because we're down to 2 live viewers right now. Good grief. So there's definitely a lot of subtle cues in this episode that I've kind of wrote down as the episode progressed. But just right off the bat, the final frontier, as they called it, just the over the top Kirkism. Paul Wesley, Katie. I mean, he like oversold the Shatnerisms with all that the talk and
He
the
did. It
hair.
was almost like he were like proper taking the piss out of Shatner, and now I had to laugh at that. But that is one of the main reasons I don't like TOS.
But
And it was brilliant. It really was. I mean, I don't like Paul Wesley. I really don't. But I had to laugh at his performance so much because he was just so brilliant in that. And I actually take my hat off to him.
yeah, then of course when in the quote unquote bloopers at the end credits where he tried to do the Riker over the command chair and the chair just broke.
Yes, I love that.
And the fact that Jonathan Frakes directed the episode. I was trying to do research to see if that was intentional or if he just did it on the fly, because Jack Quaid, he did the little Riker maneuver on the saddle in Pike's office, so it was not scripted. So
yeah, I mean, all of that, the overacting and the stupidity of everything, I absolutely loved it as basically a piss take of TOS.
yeah.
And I was just like, this better not be the entire episode or I am not watching it. And I will gladly be honest and tell everyone that is the reason I am not watching it when I come on the show. But no, I absolutely, I was laughing so much. And, you know, Paul Wesley has actually earned a few points with me for that.
Well,
yeah, those aren't my favorite episodes. The ones where they do the holodeck with the black and white and the, they've Voyagers started that, and then they made fun of it in Lower Decks, and when they did the Voyager episode when the holograms started taking over, and then they did this episode. I love the zombies, but I didn't really like the holodeck.
Yeah,
these just aren't my favorite.
Yeah, saying like I watched the Shuttle to Conform because got to watch it for my show, which by the way, this is I think might be the only live like podcast talking about Star Trek where we welcome people to actually join in on either on camera or just on audio, because all the others it's just YouTube comments. And say, but here you can actually say what you're saying in the inflection you want to say it and the tone you want to say it, because you can only draw Zach.
Oh, go Zach!
I'm just here to fuck bitches and get money.
I guess I'll be your bitch.
There
I take
goes
it quite offensively, seeing as I'm the only woman here.
there goes our Christian minister. You'll have to I have to apologize for him. Really quick.
That guy.
Oh, yes. That's very Christian of me.
You certainly are a man of the cloth.
It is.
I won't.
With you, dear.
Most of those cloths are wadded up and thrown in the corner, but I won't go there. Now,
I don't know if I should be flabbergasted or
horrified.
You should be
horrified, or is that a compliment?
For me being a Roman Catholic, I mean, when I go to confessional, I always expect to see a glory hole, but it never happened.
Oh my God! Wait, the priest when he told you with the holy water you need to gargle, right? Anyway,
oh God!
But
my God!
We probably broke Katie because she had to turn her camera off.
when it comes to Star Trek shows, and there is another technically Trek out there, a show. It's not a bad show. I don't mind it, and I don't think that Star Trek shows should beat up on each other.
It's terrible. So this one's better.
My opinion is this one's better, but I don't want to cap on any other Star Trek shows, but they do pre-script and they don't let anybody come on live and talk. They rely only on comments. So yeah, Dave is right. Come on, you can talk to us, and this is what makes this show great. And once in a while, you even get a baptism from one of those two in the middle here. All right.
But yeah, say the intro is just so TOS with
So
the
TOS.
planet, the the 84-month mission.
Oh, did you hear the submarine pings that were on the original Star Trek?
Yeah.
Boop, 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 boop. You know that sound
Yes.
that the Enterprise made?
Yeah, then of course just like
Greatly
it's
exaggerated.
I wrote down so over the top, so not expected. And then, like I said, the 84-month mission. I'm just like, wow. But wait, when they
Dead
ended
kidding.
when they ended it with like the opening credits for the Final Frontier instead of the standard Strange New Worlds intro, I was just like, But then when they went to the Enterprise and their Pike's kind of giving the heads up on the recreation deck, which is a total rub with the animated series because they did have a holodeck episode there where again things went crazy, things went awry. It's like every single holodeck episode is the same thing. Like Elementary Dear Data, which there's a direct connection to that episode in this one too.
Yes.
Say it just things went
My thoughts is that.
sideways. Yeah, say Amelia Moon, a direct like kind of connection with Dixon Hill, kind of like along the same lines. But I mean, there's a lot that I wrote down when it comes to things like that. But I want to hear from everybody else. I say Tyson, since you're the one that's probably going to be dropping off here first, you're up.
All right. Well, I did start off by saying, ask me about the Zombots. Zombies, featured in this, and it was hilarious how it came up. Briefly, Manu Intiraymi, who is Icheb, the original Icheb on Star Trek Voyager, created a movie called Star Crew, and I got to play a zombot, a robot zombie in the movie. He sent me several clips, and I really love how it turned out.
I've seen some of those clips too, and I'm just it helps to know people.
Yes, it was great for 2 days being on set. It was hot. I'm here to tell you that when you think of Hollywood sets and you go there and the green screen, you have all that in your head, right? Well, I was, I'm Southern California. I've been to Hollywood a billion times. I thought nothing of it. But when I got actually there to the set, to the green screen with all the cameras and everything in this huge warehouse, which by the way, they turn off the air conditioning when they film. You know why? Because air conditioning makes noise, and when they roll film, they roll sound. You can't have the, coming in from the AC. So you've got all these hot studio lights. You're dressed up in costume. And I just had like a costume jacket. It wasn't even, like fur or anything really, big. But my God, I was sweating like a hooker in church. It was coming out of every orifice.
That's awesome.
It was like some kind of barnyard animal. And I wasn't even in the hot lights yet. Then when it was the Zombots' turn and we got up under those hot lights and we're going, you know what? That wasn't acting. That's just the way I was walking under those hot lights and being there for 14 hours. And there was no acting involved. It was just, oh, did you say go? I was like that. It was awful. Props. Those people earn their money. And then, I think of Star Trek and how they do exactly the same thing. And they do it 14, 16, sometimes 18 hours a day after day to make all these seasons for us. And then you think of the people that really are dressed up. My thoughts go to Neelix and some of the others who really have all those prosthetics and, the jacket and the under those hot lights. I just don't know how they do it, but it was wonderful. I did, I'm not a Walking Dead fan, so even though I played a Zombot, not a huge zombie fan, but it was amazing. And I really loved the end where he and Christine not Christine, who's the love interest of the captain, the other captain. What's her name?
Battelle.
Yeah, Captain Battelle. They started, with "Why didn't you tell me?" and got into a little bit of an argument, but at the end, I don't know. I don't want to give any spoilers, but it was nice. I can't wait for the next episode. I'm really excited. What today's Monday? Was it 3 days?
Yeah.
3 days to the next episode.
But what about the episode that we watch for tonight? What are some of your thoughts on the opening bits of it?
The opening bits of the Thursday night episode?
No, the one that we just watched, the Space Adventure Hour, with the Final Frontier and the introduction to Pike wanting La'an to test out the holodeck.
Oh, those are not my favorite. Again, I'll say those are not my favorite. The holodeck ones, they're just so campy and blah. And I didn't like it when, it was Voyager and Captain Proton. I think that's what it was. And Arachna. And I was like,
Arachnia.
Arachnia. I was like, oh my God. Is there something else on, like Hollywood Squares, like anything? It's just
But
I don't know. I don't like those episodes.
Yeah,
The ones where they go back in time and make it campy. Now, I do like some holodeck episodes, like A Fistful of Datas was, a great episode, TNG. I'm just not huge on the campy black and white. This wasn't black and white; it was color, but it was still very campy.
Oh yeah, I mean, I honestly got a lot of shades of Blue, the movie, watching this one.
I know it wasn't another Shades movie that you were talking about.
Yeah, but so kind of putting and then with I should have wrote down all the characters that they were playing, but the character that Una was playing was supposed to be loosely based off of Lucille Ball, who is the godmother of all Star Trek. And saying, so I got a bunch of Desilu vibes watching them bicker backstage, and of course, again,
what was with her hair? It was like the Princess Leia bun, but it was on top of her head. I mean, that Una hairstyle.
60s. It was based in the 60s, so. But that
like she could have unraveled that like Rapunzel and used it as a rope. It was just.
But Spock made another reference to being that Sir Arthur Conan Doyle was his ancestor. Which, I mean, he mentioned that before, not in so many words, in Star Trek VI: The Undiscovered Country as well.
I knew I'd heard that before, and I didn't know where I'd heard it, and that's probably because I blocked out the majority of TOS. But yeah, that did ring a bell actually. I'm just not going to mention anything about Spock until near the end of the show because
Okay. So.
But no, do you know what? I'm just going to say it. I mean, Tyson, I am questioning our friendship about these episodes because, I mean, Captain Proton, I absolutely love the Captain Proton holodeck. And when Janeway became Arachnia, she owned that. All hail.
Oh, absolutely.
And I don't. Some of the holodeck episodes I don't like. I will admit, but there's a lot of the holodeck episodes that I really do like, and this one I actually did like because it showed a very different side of La'an, and it allowed her to just express herself a little bit, even though she was basically doing the same kind of job that she does on the Enterprise. She was a lot more relaxed and open, and it did show a bit of a different side to her, and that's one of the reasons I love this episode. And you got to see Scotty all jittery and panicky, and just how we love him. No, please, Phil.
No, when you mentioned Scotty, no, I had some thoughts about that while watching that. First of all, I'm so glad that he's become part of the crew, because when he showed up in that two-parter, I wasn't sure if he was going to stay on, but I really like the actor, and I really like Scotty's always one of my favorite characters. So I'm glad that he's on there, and he works so well with what's her name? The fact that he's kind of yes. But I'm wondering if like they've made him kind of jittery and questionable, and I'm wondering if he's going to slowly. I'm hoping the writers do this and do something with this, but if he's going to sort of earn his reputation as the miracle worker.
I'm seeing some of that right now, even these early episodes of him in there.
That's what I'm wondering, because we all know that Scotty, he's always kind of told the captain that things are worse than what they are, so that when he did finally correct it faster than, like, it's the captain would say, we need this in the next couple hours. This is going to take me 3 or 4 hours. And captain's like, we don't have that much time. And then he ends up fixing it like way sooner than expected. And Scotty, you're a miracle worker, and he kind of does that on purpose. So I'm wondering if he's slowly going to develop that through the course of the show, that he.
Yes.
Yeah.
What about some of the original? Sorry, really quick. With some of the original, like Dr. Philip Boyce was the doctor on The Cage, right? Mm-hmm. He was the ship's doctor, the one who brought Pike a drink. And well, right now we have Dr. Mbenga. So at some point before Kirk gets the Enterprise, Dr. Boyce is going to have to
show up.
You think they're going to do that?
I'm wondering. Yeah.
Well, we still got 2 more. We got another 16 episodes plus the 5 or 6 more. I think, 6 more this season. So there's time. And I think I've read that there's going to be doing time jumps, because just between episode 1 and 2 there's a 3-month jump. So they're probably going to do more jumps here in the future, most likely.
Yeah, can I just point something out? As much as I've blocked a lot of TOS out, The Cage came before what we're seeing now.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah.
That
is true.
So we may not see that doctor person that Tyson was just on about, because he came before Mbenga.
That is correct. Kudos to you, Kay.
Okay. Yay! And I only remember because the only thing that saved my sanity after watching The Cage is the connecting episode in Disco Season 2. That is the only thing that saved my sanity when it came to The Cage. But no, I just want to expand a little bit on the Scotty situation.
Which just by the way, which by the way, this is the first Scottish actor to actually play Scotty.
Yes,
I think it's great.
Yes,
a true Scotsman.
You see, I mean, I love Scotty. I've always loved Scotty. To be quite honest, he was the only reason why I was able to tolerate watching TOS when it was on at other people's houses, because I absolutely adore Scotty. And when he turned up in Next Gen, and even the Kelvin timeline, I mean, the actor who played him in the Kelvin timeline, I absolutely adore that guy, and he played Scotty so well. But one thing that I'm really loving about the actor who's playing Scotty in Strange New Worlds is from what I remember from TOS, like I said, I have blocked a lot out, but from what I remember from TOS, Scotty always likes to work. Scotty thrives under pressure. because and that stems from his past of being so uncertain of his abilities. And the more time he has to do something, the more he ruminates. But when he's under pressure, he doesn't have as much time, so is a lot more on it. What we're seeing in Strange New Worlds at the minute is very early on in his career. But we're seeing that we've seen little bits of everything, like when Pelia came running in and was like, oh, they're here, do you know, the ship's under attack, and he just like he'd been trying to get this thing sorted for so long, but as soon as she came running in with an emergency and he had to have it done there and then, he got it done there and then. Whereas in this episode, it was a little bit more scatty. And that is one thing about Scotty, is that he has a lot of up and down moments. But when it comes down to it, he is on it. And I can't remember his name, who plays Scotty in the Kelvin Timeline movies.
Simon Pegg?
Yes, Simon Pegg, thank you. Because I absolutely adore that actor, and he kind of embodied both sides of Scotty. You know, the running around, headless chicken, I'm on it, Captain, you know, and then it's just like, no, we can't do that. The ship is not built to do that. The ship will not do that. And then like Kirk's just like, I know you can do it, Scotty. And then he's just like, oh yeah, I can do it, cause I can fucking do it. You know, he's just like really being like really sarcastic, but it showed like a combination of his confidence, his abilities, but also his scattiness. And I can see that in Strange New Worlds, Scotty, and I absolutely adore that we're seeing that. And I know that we're going to see more scattiness, but we're going to see more of what we saw before as well. Like like I said, when Pelia came in and put him under pressure. And I'm very excited to see his journey. Because he's adorable. And if anybody says he's not, they can piss off. Because he is adorable. He really is. I've always loved Scotty.
Yeah.
And can we please talk about Uhura's hair?
Yeah.
It is gorgeous.
Holodeck Uhura, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh no, I'm on about Uhura, not the holodeck version. I adore her hair.
Yeah, everyone's getting a lot of different hairdos this season, I've noticed.
Oh yeah, but her hair is absolutely gorgeous. I love it. I mean, don't get me wrong, I liked it in the holodeck as well, but I really love the do that she's got going on. I absolutely adore it. She is stunning. I love Uhura. But yeah, we won't get into that.
But,
she's hot. There, I've said it.
I forget which character it was, but when Spock came along, and one of the characters that I wasn't expecting a pajama party. It's another clever dig that was called out a lot of times on Next Generation. So you're wearing pajamas. What the hell?
Yeah, I caught that. Can I actually throw in a little comment that I thought about when I was watching this? Because I did get a kick out of this episode. I have a feeling it's going to get some slack for being another funny episode, but
I mean, it's a definitely good episode to follow up the zombie episode. So
yeah, true. For a dark episode to have something a little lighthearted.
Yeah.
I actually got a kick out of it, but when I was watching the intro, I had a feeling it was something to do with the holodeck, and probably why the Enterprise never had a holodeck on their ship. But the costumes, when they did the whole set and the costumes, I thought the lighting was definitely very 60s, because they always had those sort of colored lights in the hallways and everything. But the costumes gave me vibes of something even before the 60s. The costumes were very sort of 40s, 50s. I even thought about, I had to look it up, Forbidden Planet, because it was driving me nuts thinking, where have I seen outfits like this? And I had to look up Forbidden Planet, and it made me think of that when I was looking at them. I mean, they're obviously original costumes for the show, but it was just interesting design choices that it's sort of a mix of like 40s and 50s kind of, those old serials, like the old Flash Gordon serials, that kind of thing is what they've kind of more based the costumes off of. But I got a real kick out of it just for the whole design element of that at the beginning.
Well, the original Buck Rogers.
Yes.
I mean, original. Yeah.
Yes. Yep.
Oh, and the other thing, just kind of going on that dig on how low budget that the original Star Trek was, the Angosian, is that you could see the little sticks for her arms, which had eyeballs in her hands. It's just like, wow.
Yeah,
and then of
I
course
love that.
with the bloopers at the end with her having problems standing up and all that because the equilibrium is probably completely shot.
Oh, if I was younger and had time, I would totally make that for like a convention.
But it just kind of gave that 60s sci-fi vibe totally.
And I love that because I actually like 60s sci-fi.
Okay, so Star Trek, the original series, was 66 to 69. So 2001: A Space Odyssey was a contemporary, right? But you can tell the difference that money makes because you watch Star Trek, you look at the effects. Now, Star Trek, I loved. Great show, great actors, interesting stories. I'll watch it all day long. But when it comes to special effects and realism, you can't really compare it to 2001: A Space Odyssey. Stanley Kubrick. I mean, it was that movie holds up today with today's computer effects. That movie holds up today. I mean, if they could have treated Star Trek the way they treated 2001: A Space Odyssey, it would probably look very much the way it looks in Strange New Worlds. I wish they would have given. I don't know that it was Paramount. I would think it was Desilu back in the day. I think Desilu could have put a little more money into it.
Yeah, Desilu, I think, did the production aspect, but they used Paramount as a springboard to get it out there.
It was, well, Desilu was bought out by Paramount. So I don't know. I think it was filmed on Desilu Studios. It was actually at Desilu Studios where the sound stage was. Paramount bought it, and then it became, Paramount's, which has lots of sound stages around Los Angeles. Universal, what is it? Studio City, some of the others. Anyway, just, I wish they could have spent a little more money on it, but I love it. I do. We're coming up. I'm going to have to jump here. I apologize. I've got net control duty, so I'm going to leave it a little early. But I will say this. You guys are amazing. This show is amazing. And for all the Star Trek shows out there, of course, I love this one the best. And maybe, fingers crossed, Dangerous Thoughts will be back next Wednesday.
Next Wednesday? I was actually going to ask that, saying if you had any word.
Well, I talked to Manu last night. Next Wednesday is the goal. His life partner,
heterosexual life mate,
yes, is still in a very delicate state, so things are still, in flux. But it is tangentially, I'm sorry, conditionally, it is still next Wednesday. Maybe we'll see. Fingers crossed. Anyway, I'm hoping Valerie makes a full recovery and everything works out.
Me too.
No, just from the videos I've seen from her, she's definitely, after 3 cardiac events, she's doing outstanding, I think.
Well, I mean, you actually live in the city and could drive there and see them. I can't, so you have an advantage over me.
Yeah, I haven't had that opportunity yet, but that's something I should probably talk to Manu and maybe do.
Yes. Bring over some mocktails so that you guys can and play, drink, and have a great. Because she's not going to be able to drink either, so mocktails would be fun for everyone.
I agree.
All right.
All right.
Have a good day, guys.
See you later,
See you
my
soon,
man.
darling. Love you lots. Mwah.
Bye.
All right. Ooh, I timed that just perfectly. He dropped off just as I switched over the camera. Yeah, saying so. That's one thing I might try and do one of these days is kind of like play up with the cameras and whatnot for the spacing, but yeah, saying the way the characters were digging at Paul Wesley's Kirk character, that he is a chauvinistic egomaniac. See, that's like a total rub. I immediately thought, oh, gotta mention that. Katie will like that. Just saying how much of a prick that.
I saw it when they cut to sort of the behind the scenes kind of thing, and he was behavior that way. I was like, oh my god, they really went there. Not even just his behavior in shot, but even behind the scenes.
And I'm so glad they did. I'm so glad they did, because I was laughing so much. And you know, I mean, as I've said, I don't really like Paul Wesley. I don't know what it is about him. There's always been something there that I haven't been able to put my finger on. And I don't like him. But he earned some points with me in this episode for how he basically took the piss out of Shatner's acting, because that's what he was doing. And all right, fair enough, it was scripted that way, but he sold it. And I absolutely adored his performance. I cannot praise him enough for it. And yeah, so he's earned a lot of points. I really did love him in this episode.
Yeah, saying the ruminations are that by the end of the series, it's going to be when he takes command of the Enterprise. So we'll see if that pans out or not. It's still another two-ish years away. But yeah, I agree, Paige. Yeah, I've seen the videos too. Yeah, and yeah, again, based on what she's gone through, the way that she is right now, it's fingers crossed that she is going to make a full recovery.
I have every faith in her. She is strong, and she has so much love around her. I mean, Manu is devoted to the Lady Val, and you know, we all love Val to pieces. And you know, she is a sister witch, and I have been doing a lot of healing rituals for her, sending her a lot of healing and a lot of love and strength as well. But she is holding her own, and she is doing so well.
But that being said, there's still just a few days left before I guess GoFundMe has a timeline for how long you can have a campaign on their website. So there's just a few days left before they have to shut it down. They're only about 70% of their goal. So down in the YouTube description, there is a link to Manu and Val's GoFundMe to help with the costs of the horrific bills that they're going to incur from her 1 month stay at not one of the best hospitals in the Springs, but options were limited. Time is of the essence. They got her well, but yeah, the bills are going to be horrendous. So you can donate $1, $5, $10, $50, $5,000. They'll be eternally grateful for any dollar amount that anyone's able to get out there for them. Sorry.
Absolutely.
But yeah, going off what I said earlier, just when they realized that they lost contact outside of the holodeck, it's the typical holodeck episode. Safety protocols go offline, yet they can't turn it off, and they can't get the exit to pop in the save them. So it's just like, yeah, so it's like, why am I blanking on the name of the episode? It's the first season episode where first time that Picard did a Dixon Hill book, They're saying they got stuck in there. And then, of course, Arman Bashir with DS9. So it's not limited to Federation holodecks. Cardassian holodecks are just as
Yeah.
is something going wrong?
You talking about the big goodbye?
The big goodbye, yes, thank you. But yeah, saying Paige, Val is an incredible woman.
Absolutely.
And she loves Manu to death, and she loves sci-fi to death too. So yay!
My kind of woman.
Mm-hmm.
That's why we get on so well.
Amen.
But no, I like a good mystery. And this episode really did turn it around. Because I don't. I will admit, usually when. I mean, I've watched that many murder mysteries in my time. You know, I'm a very big Agatha Christie fan. Sherlock Holmes. I mean, I grew up on Agatha Christie and Sherlock Holmes. And you know, I got used to looking for all the little clues as to who the guilty party was. And
I didn't see it being Spock at all.
No, I didn't. I mean, I knew that there was something off about Spock, but I actually put that down to awkwardness. Because of what happened at the beginning of the episode, that little like moment. But you know, I did not see that coming. Yeah, absolutely.
I think Canada's kind of the same. Phil can
Yeah,
speak
we're
to that.
somewhat similar. Yeah, it was somewhat similar system. Actually, most of the world does. I think it's the U.S. that's the only one holding on that. But side note.
But no, I really didn't see the Spock angle, and I'm actually really disappointed in myself that I didn't, because it's very rare that I don't see the twist at the end. But that like I say, the way he was throughout the episode, like how he was on the holodeck, I really did put that down to awkwardness. After what happened when they were dancing at the beginning of the episode, and knowing that she was a little bit awkward around him as well, you know, it. Oh yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely,
but
Zach.
But yeah, it was a very. Oh, definitely, everyone needs to watch that series. Sorry. Sorry, I love Sherlock and I love Benedict Cumberbatch. But no, I did like the twist at the end. I really did.
I did.
And although you're gonna be really disappointed in me with this. Do you know when Spock got shot?
Yeah, a hollow Spock is the way I've dubbed him.
Yeah, when Hollow Spock got shot, I'm just like, why the hell is there a massive green splodge on his arm? I was sat there for a few minutes trying to work it out, and then I remembered his Vulcan.
Oh, Katie.
A really big, like, ditzy moment, and I'm just like, please don't tell me that my migraine is interfering with this, because, no, honestly, well, actually, no. I actually thought I was hallucinating because of my medication. I've had a few incidents with my restless leg medication where I've actually hallucinated, and I'm just like, okay, people don't bleed green, and I was just like, no, this isn't. This is happening. What's gone on? And I'm just like, was it some form of like splurge gun? Or something, you know, and then I remembered that is actually Vulcan, and Vulcans bleed green. So yeah, I had a very ditzy moment with that. So yeah, I just thought I'd share it with you to give you all a laugh. But no, I did like that twist, but I do love a good murder mystery. And I think that they were trying to like convince everyone that it was I can't even remember the character's name. Holodeck, I call him. With how shady he was being, and with no, Data won't be in Strange New Worlds.
Did you mean it episodes, perhaps? But
yes.
Yeah, no, yeah, I mean, well, Sung, a version of Sung might show up, but I doubt that he's gonna show up in anything like that.
Yeah, no. Data. This is like way before Data's time, I think. But no, I think that the way they were pushing it, is not a chance in hell.
No.
But I think that they were trying to make it so that the Holodeck, whatever his name was, I can't remember, was they were trying to make out that he could be the killer because of how dodgy he was being and how nervous.
Yeah, TK was the character's name.
TK. Yeah.
He is a similarities to Gene Roddenberry.
Yeah. But I knew instantly what they were doing with that. And I'm just like, regardless of how dodgy he's been and how nervous, he is not the killer. Because that is just too obvious.
Yeah. It's the alcohol.
Yeah. Absolutely. But no, I actually liked it. Even though, fair enough, it was a little bit cliche, as it's been mentioned, you know, holodeck episode, everything goes wrong, the ship becomes endangered, all that. But I still liked it. It was different. And even though it kind of wasn't at the same time, but it, you know, it kind of added a bit of backstory to the holodeck. And that's one thing that I really did like about it. And like I've already said with Laan, but there is one thing that I really do need to speak about. That kiss at the end. Now, I really wish that I'd have mentioned this before, but when Laan was teaching Spock how to dance?
Yeah. Sorry, got an itch in the ear.
I could see how close they were getting, and I'm just like, please don't tell me they're going to go down that route. And then nothing else happened, and I'm just like, oh, it was just one of those. Yeah, everything's fine. But then this episode, right at the beginning, right at the beginning when they had that like moment when they were dancing, again, I was just like, please no. And I'm just wondering where they're trying to take this, because I don't know how I feel about it. I really don't. And I would like everybody else's opinion on this romantic moment between Spock and Laan.
Yeah, I'm there. Because I mean, there's always been like a a level of tension with Spock and Chapel when it came to the original series, but at that point they've developed a distance emotionally and professionally by the time the series rolls around. Even though Chapel still has yearnings for Spock, Spock never really reciprocates on that.
Yeah, I'm just.
We're talking about the recent episode of Strange New Worlds that aired on Thursday there, Jim. Appreciate you popping in. Once new episodes of Strange New Worlds comes to an end, we're going to go back to either talking about characters from that era, as well as episodes from Next Gen, typically Next Gen, DS9, Voyager, and Enterprise. The Berman eras, I like to refer to it as, because that's what I grew up with. That's what I like. As much as Katie hates it, I'd love to maybe talk about at least one or two TOS episodes, ones that I personally think are top notch.
Are you trying to torture me? I mean,
well, either
does our
that
friendship mean that little to you?
Well, Travis
we
can
were
fill.
friends.
Well, yeah, but I know. But I mean, it's hard for me to watch a lot of those TOS episodes. But I mean, there are some that really hit home. Travis has given a double thumbs up. So if you want to have him fill in for you as co-host that week, that's something to discuss. That's something to discuss backstage.
Do you know what? Just because I love you so much, I would be willing to do maybe 3 episodes on TOS, and I will actually watch those episodes only because I love you so much, and only so that me and Travis can have a very big debate on it, because me and Travis really do clash very lovingly, of course, because we love each other very much, but we clash so much over TOS, and that would be fun, actually, to see me and Travis go at it about TOS.
Yeah, saying so. Like number one, probably let that be your last battlefield. That's a good episode, because I mean, it took me 6 months before someone actually told me that my dog that I had was a Star Trek dog, and I was just, what are you talking about? I looked at her, it's like, oh my god, I do. if I'll try and I'll pull up a picture of her here.
That Balance of Terror might be a good one, since that was one they kind of sort of semi-recreated in Strange New Worlds.
Yeah, that would be.
As long as I don't have to sit through the cage again.
No.
Was it Troubles with Tribbles?
Oh, that's a fun one. Trouble with Tribbles is a fun episode.
Yeah. Trouble with Tribbles. I'd be willing to watch that one.
That'd be a good one.
Because Tribbles, cute.
Well, only because it ties into Deep Space Nine.
Trials and Tribulations.
Yes.
Trials and Tribulations and stuff.
I was about ready to say.
You could be like, wow, and stuff. Real quick, because I've been kind of quiet and everything else, not to get too far from everything. I'm right there with you, Katie, about I don't know how you guys feel. This whole thing with let's have this love interest, and I know Dave touched on about because in the TOS it was him about Chapel. They teased about Chapel and Spock. Now they really went at it with this in this series. It seems like they're trying to force. They want to force relationships upon each other on the ships and stuff and everything else. And I'm like this. If you think about this, if you were to have interpersonal relationship with somebody, that's what they say in the office, in real world and stuff and everything else, things can go. Let's just say things are not always hunky-dory behind the scenes and stuff like that, because people clash, disagreements and stuff like that, and it can affect your work, and it can affect your judgment and stuff and everything. I feel like the same thing about this particular episode when they try to like force. I'm gonna say they force, but they like, you know what? Since everything didn't work well with Chapel, let's give Spock a new love interest. It's like we got to give everybody a love interest and stuff and everything. It's just like, oh, come on, people, look, Space ain't about all about the love interest stuff like that. I know they want to do this. That, Hollywood's about like battles and stuff and blah 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 and everything, but they have to throw in romantic stuff and everything. I'm not a person about the whole romantic stuff. Just write a good script. Leave that blah stuff and everything aside and everything else, because it just seems like we got to throw some tension in there between two colleagues and stuff and everything. And guess what? If it doesn't work, who's going to lead the ship? Is Spock going to lead the ship if him and Lanai don't get up? Man, I can't work around you. Until I see you, you come on the bridge and everything else, I get this panic attack or something like that. Or Lanai be like, oh man, every time I see Spock, he dragged me up the wall and stuff. It's like you work on the same ship, unless you get transferred and stuff and everything. That's my issue with a lot of stuff like that, because they toyed with this in Voyager with Janeway and Chakotay. I'm glad that they left that alone. I'm like, oh my goodness, thank you, because having the captain and first officer in a romantic relationship it's just way. I know they got close. By the time the series ended, there was an episode where he told her, because they had to go through the whole time thing and stuff. He told his past Janeway about how close they get. But he said just there's some boundaries that they don't cross. They become very close. They trust each other. They they care for one each other. But they leave it at a certain point where they don't cross that threshold. And I was so happy with that. They played that really well. And I was so happy to see that at that time. So I'm like, oh, y'all forcing it. The writers are trying to force, Spock to have a love interest on the ship. Everybody has to have a love interest on the ship. It's like, is this a ship of exploration or is this a ship of humping? Is everybody going to be humping from one star system to another star system? Oh my goodness, I fell over top on you and stuff and everything. No, it just that's one of my issues that I had with this particular episode, Katie, and stuff.
I would have thought like an organization like Starfleet, they would discourage that sort of thing to keep a certain rapport with members on a crew. Like even at a job, they tell you they warn, like, don't get into any kind of relationship with your coworkers. Like that creates a lot of problems in an office situation. And yeah, you can get fired for that sort of thing. So
I've seen it. I've witnessed some stuff like that before. Oh yeah. I mean, it's just one of those things.
Yeah.
Now, as much as I have an issue with like the forcing of relationships on screen and stuff, in all honesty, that is very realistic what they do with it. Because if you think about it, like, I mean, as glad as I am, I'm very with Travis on this. I'm so glad that they left the whole Janeway Chakotay thing alone. But one thing that you've got to look at is, if you are in close proximity with someone every single day, and you rely on that person, like with Janeway and Chakotay, you are relying on that person day in, day out. You are working so closely together. You get on, you have similar interests or different interests that you like discussing. Because, everyone says, everybody is different. But, we do like to discuss different interests. And, under those circumstances, especially in such a small environment, that is actually quite realistic that things like that happen. And I don't think so much that they're just trying to force relationships for the sake of it. I think to some degree, yes, potentially that they could be, just to add that bit of tension, as you said, Travis. That again is very realistic that the writers would want to do that. But it, like I say, it happens in real life. And, this is why when I was able to work, I did not fraternize with my co-workers. I went to work, I would get on with them at work, but I never exchanged numbers with anyone, social media, anything. And, because I just couldn't be doing with any of that. And you know, it is very realistic that these tension points would be put into something like Trek, especially with them being like, you know, going out into deep space. They're very much alone, even though they have got Starfleet if they need them. You know, they are very much alone, and you know, probably half of the crew screwing each other behind the scenes. You know, you just don't know. For all we know, there's like major orgies going on once a week. We don't know that. We don't
Could
know
be.
that, but you know, it could happen.
Going where no man has gone before.
Well, I mean,
Thank you. Yes.
yeah, Seven made it known that Tom and B'Elanna get giggity with it. It's just like everyone on the deck
Exactly.
knows when you're having romantic relations.
Exactly. You know, it happens. It really does happen, whether it be a fling, it turns into, you know, a lifelong commitment, or things go all tits up and everything. You know, it happens. It happens on Navy ships. It happens on, you know, it does happen.
You know what? By the 24th century, I say by the time we got to Star Trek Next Generation and stuff and everything, thank you for the holodecks, because guess what? You know what? You can play out your fantasy in there. You can get your, you know, your knickers off and stuff and everything else. You know, you can go in there, and there's people who got, you know, waste distraction from holodeck waste distraction and stuff and everything. You know, you play out your fantasy in the holodeck, whatever, you know, you want to create, whatever problems you want to have and everything. So, you know, that's one thing. Hey,
I love Jim.
Exactly.
I
Jim. Exactly. You know, you start thinking about that. It's like, you know, that's one thing. That's one thing you can compensate from. You know, wanting to have a blowout orgy. You know, somewhere in main engineering or something like that, or you know, someone's
Data's quarters.
like that. And,
Yeah.
you know,
Data's quarters.
Yeah.
Top-
You know,
so
he is fully functional.
set your faces on stun, everybody, because it's going to be a while. You know, warp drive seeing tonight. You know, something.
But no, you know,
But it's just one of those
even
things.
though there is the holodeck, some people may not like to, you know, screw holograms. You know, that they may want that proper connection with someone. But you know, I mean,
Tell that to Bortus from the
Or I
Orville.
was gonna say that because
Well,
switching
yeah.
franchises, Bortus really got hot and heavy
Oh yeah,
in their
Yeah.
whatever, I forget what they
that
call
was
their
kind of a
holodeck.
hilarious episode though, when they went to try
They
and
call them
fix the
simulations.
simulator. Yeah, when they went to fix the
Simulator.
simulator. Yeah, when they went to fix the simulator, I was just, every time I watched that scene in that episode, I just cackle like crazy because it is so funny. But no, it's some. I mean, you know, if we develop holodecks, I can hold my hands up and say I'd probably give it a go.
Yeah.
I probably would, you know, just to say that I've done it, you know.
Make sure there's somebody there for waste distraction, holodeck waste distraction.
But
Jim fully admits to having Barclay syndrome. That's what I call it. Just like, holo addiction is a real thing. I would probably need help too, especially with someone dealing with sobriety, finding other outlets to kind of
Holo
deal with that.
addiction. You talking about holo addiction? Yeah.
Barclay syndrome.
Yeah. That's just one of my things. Also, too, like I look at, you know, I like the little like the thing. Like, did anybody notice Spock caught up the arch?
Yes.
Yeah.
That was pretty. I was like, okay, they bought that. They bought that in the arch and stuff and everything else, you know. And I noticed too that it wasn't like you guys mentioned early in the beginning of the in this what we were talking about earlier. You know, this wouldn't be a Star Trek episode, especially a holodeck episode, without some sort of, you know, malfunction and stuff. And I suspect the malfunction happened because they was basically studying a neutron star of all things, which, you know, a gamma ray burst. It's like, really, a neutron star giving off that much radiation is not going to interfere with the systems on the ship, especially with this brand new technology that they're testing out and stuff and everything else, just to see stuff like that. Lucky, I mean, it was the point of seeing whether this, a holodeck is something that is for long-term exploration, is something to help give relief for long-term exploration and stuff and everything else, But we saw too on the panels, or I should say the consoles or the display, to that the holodeck was the reason why the ship system was going haywire and stuff and everything, because it was draining all of the
Yeah.
program. The program was draining all of the necessary computer power to function, for them to function for the ship and stuff. And that was an interesting little thing, because we seem kind of like they mess around with the Moriarty took control of the Enterprise
Mhm.
twice and stuff and everything, about like what happens when you start fooling around with the holodeck, and it has a it can affect ship's functions, primary and secondary functions. And you'd be like, what's going on? I mean, nobody talk about, like, okay, when Data in LaForge was experimenting with being a backup computer, Data being a backup computer, Troy, Worf, and Alexander was on the holodeck in the Old West, American Old West.
Fistful of
And
datas.
you just be like, oh my goodness. They just, it was a really interesting episode, but it just shows that, you holodeck technology can be a little fragile if you start, if you start playing around and, doing other things, cross, circuitry of like different systems and stuff and everything else. But needless to say, Tyson said it wasn't really his, this particular episode was his favorite. And I mean, it wasn't really mine either too. It was it was okay in a sense, because you got to see, some interesting stuff. I like that. I like that they took this holiday. Lamar had a program, and it was set in 1969. That was the interesting thing. The program was set in 1969, and it reminded me of back to Deep Space Nine episode. What's that? Man Bashir.
Mm-hmm.
And it reminded me of him playing basically what's that, MI6
Yep.
Yeah.
agent, and stuff, British agent and stuff and everything else. And Garrick happened to basically broke into his hollow program and stuff. But it was set in that like little time era too and everything else, which was pretty interesting, that to see that sometimes when they go back to these little tropes, it goes to show you too, like they mentioned Captain Proton. Tom Paris said, I remember he said it was interesting to see how people back then thought the future was supposed to be. Just as we look in the 1960s, like Star Trek, of course it was a different time, the Star Trek with Gene Roddenberry now, how they perceive to what Star Trek, is. And we saw all these like, crazy set stuff like that, like they showed in the beginning of this particular episode. And it was pretty interesting to see, the bulkiness and just the overly acting, in a sense, not just from Paul, from Wesley, what's it, Paul Wesley, whatever his name is. And it was just interesting to see, the take that we look back on it and be like, wow, they had a very, you know, misunderstanding of what, the future could possibly be, because, we have an understanding now of what, 100 years from our time, what 100 years could possibly look like for space travel and stuff and everything. We have a better understanding to make shows that look better and everything else. And I really thought this particular episode did well with how they vision, they went from the past and the vision from Lalonde. Of course, it was a mystery, a murder mystery, solving holodeck program and stuff and everything. But I like the style that they set back, like they went back to of the 1960s and stuff and everything else, with the so-called beehives. And they didn't have no butterfly collar, but that was in the 70s and stuff and everything. But like, just the, you know, what the style was in the 60s and stuff. And I'm so sorry I'm talking so much, because I know other
Hey,
people want to talk.
yeah,
Zach, I know you.
can I just ask? Not necessarily ask a question, but just bring some up. After what happened in this episode, it explains a hell of a lot as to why the holodecks were set on a separate like power system.
Yes.
Yes. That for me, that the problems of this episode, because the holodeck was like directly linked to the Enterprise power systems, that was the that was what caused the problem. Whereas I think that if it may still cause a problem, but not as much of a problem if it had have been like the holodecks that we've grown accustomed to, because they have their own separate power systems,
independent power source.
Yeah, and that it kind of just like builds the backstory of the holodeck, and that is like one of the main things that I loved about this episode is, you know, it's one thing getting a backstory of Trek and how things came about, but the backstory on the technology, that is what I like as well. And I mean, in Enterprise, we got to see a bit more of the backstory of the transporters.
A lot of aversion towards the new technology.
Yeah, it's like present day problems, you know, like people that are worried about new technology become too reliant on technology, become addicted to technology. You know, it is all real world problems in our time. Yeah.
Yep.
And
yep.
I can't do anything without this phone. Yeah, gotta love the Voyager background I downloaded recently.
I like that. But no, I love this episode because you got to see a bit of the history of certain technology. Like, regardless of whether anyone's just like, oh, another holodeck incident, you know, it's so much more than that. And I liked that about it.
Well, and that definitely ties in that, like Scotty was saying, he had an idea to make the holodeck power supply a completely separate system from the rest of the ship, so what the crap that happened doesn't happen again. And saying, so it kind of explains why we didn't get a holodeck on the original Enterprise, because they were still trying to figure that stuff out.
You know what, right there, Dave, I was just thinking about this too. What if this, you know, you look at this, the Daystrom Institute. Did anybody ever think about the Daystrom Institute when they kicked it? You know, kick it back to say this was created from the Daystrom Institute. The Daystrom Institute put it like a beta testing, like beta testing. So they beta tested it, and you know, you see what problems. You know, you try to work out the bugs and stuff and everything. They sent the technology back to the Daystrom Institute, and they told the Daystrom Institute, what happened and stuff and everything, blah blah blah. They spent many decades trying to perfect, work out the bugs and stuff like that before they implement this on a fleet-wide basis and stuff and everything else, and let the technology out, because they came out. I remember Tom said something about holo novels. When he grew up, there was holo novels at the doctors. When he went to the doctors, he always had, the updated holo novels and stuff and everything. So you look at, the stuff like that. Some of these technology, like, okay, for one thing too, in TNG, when Birminhoff Rasmussen traveled to, the 24th century, we all know he was from the past, but he made himself look like he was from the future. He gave the crew questionnaires and stuff and everything else. And he asked one of the things about, like, the 22nd century and stuff and everything else. I remember Riker mentioned, and Crusher mentioned too, like about like different types of early days of new technology that was still in this early development and stuff like that, like force field. Like they use force fields, like they have shielding stuff like that, but at this point in time, they didn't have force field like a hull breach. They seal their hull breaches using force fields and stuff and everything. Or they, somebody running loose on the ship, they will capture them in the force field, in the containment field, or you could say whatever and stuff like that. Those kind of little things you never seen, because the Daystrom, to me, it's like the Daystrom Institute is still experimenting, and Starfleet is still experimenting in the early days of that kind of technology and stuff like that. And they still using too. I remember when Daystrom himself, when they was using duotronic technology, duotronic computers and stuff on ships and stuff and everything. But by the time, I guess in the somewhere in the 24th century, the mid to late 20, somewhere in the mid 24th century, they switched over to isolinear processor chips and stuff and everything else, because I remember that was another little trope that I remember Jordy mentioned to Scotty, and stuff like that, because he asked about the duotronic technology. Go ahead, Dave. I'm sorry.
No, it's just like you're talking about the isolinear chips. I mean, those huge ass chips that Scotty was swapping around and whatnot in the room he was at. So I say those are like early isolinear chips.
Those is like those are like type of what they call them, duotronic, like a type of duotronic chip, because they made, by the time the duotronic chips or the isolated processor came along, they were really small, and they was like the size of a credit card, you could say, and stuff.
Half
But
the
like
size.
you could say that those were like duotronic chips, at that time.
So I just got a news alert. Thankfully, it's not here, but kind of east of here, there's reporting hail the size of apples right now.
Oh my.
Yeah, that is no bueno. See, they're under a tornado warning out there, but the apple-sized hail. Like, what the hell?
I know Phil's in Toronto right now, and and Dave's out west in Colorado and stuff. But like, I don't know if you bet you, Katie, but just real quick, not to throw off our particular subject at hand, stuff like that. We have been having some crazy wildfires here, some dangerous in the mid to upper northeast of the United States, and then in Canada as well. The air pollution has been horrible. Cities have been like, people are wearing masks. It's just, and then in the South, we have a lot of flooding. There's been a lot within the past few months. There's been so much flooding from Texas all the way to, but
hey, Sean. Yeah, joining us out through Rumble. So yay. Welcome.
Hey.
And actually I just buckled down. I subscribe for premium on X/Twitter, so I'm gonna start streaming on my main Twitter account, because that's where I got the 1700 odd viewers or subscribers right now that follow me, versus 40 on Technically Trek. So I might try and see if I can piggyback on the Technically Trek, but yeah, definitely like and subscribe, because it's definitely not the biggest turnout on this one. I don't know if like a lot of those were from Zach's Twitter account, because he's just started simulcasting on Rumble, which I do greatly appreciate, Zach.
Remember, real quick to all our viewers and everybody, you can interact with us, live right now if you want to.
Just like Sean is, but you can always pop in on camera as well. See, we're one of the few, if not the only, Star Trek podcast that allows actual face-to-face conversation. And I got, say, there's 5 of us, so I got 5 more slots available. Allergies, hate them. Dang
and
it.
If you don't like being on camera, you can turn your camera off. I mean, Zach's camera's off at the minute. I turn my camera off sometimes for many different reasons, but we want to hear your voices, and we always welcome New people.
See, yep. Jim and Phil, yep.
It's bad.
Yeah, Western Washington, when I lived there, it was particularly bad the last couple of summers, and a lot of it's fires north into Canada, fires in Eastern Washington, and say if we get an offshore flow, all that smoke, I think the AQI in some places in Eastern Washington were 450 plus. So there's just, if you don't have to be outside, don't go outside. Keep your windows closed.
Yeah,
Absolutely,
definitely.
absolutely. Yeah,
I
yeah.
think I got.
Oh, one thing about being on the Starship too, you may have windows, but you can't roll your windows down.
Mm.
And you know one thing that I really do not like about Star Trek in general? They don't seem to know what curtains are. I mean, I know they're in space.
Who's
I
going
know
to
that,
look in?
but if they meet up with another ship, if they park up at a space station, or
All I
or even
pictured was that
the
moment from the
actual
Orville where he snuck by in a shuttle to see.
exactly, do a shuttle drive by,
But no,
There
there are episodes where it's got to remember the windows are transparent aluminum. They hit a button that they can go dark, or sometimes they do have a screen
like
protector
a shade.
that
Yeah,
drops
They got
down.
like a shade or something.
Even still, the coziness and comfort of curtains at a window. I'm sorry, but I mean, if I was on a starship, I'd be getting curtains up at my windows straight away, just for that homely, comfort aspect of,
Don't they have something like an airplane sliders that can pull down over the windows? Because my thought is if somebody on a time clock,
there's a button for that.
Yeah, because imagine they're exploring a star or a sun, and yeah,
that's the air quality like in Toronto. Whereas Buffalo is pretty fine, but just like on the Canadian side, not so much.
Yeah. Oh man.
Yeah. If you're
Phil, you're right. You're right. You're right about that. There is a
sleep.
There is a button that you could push and you can lower, like a shade over the windows and viewports.
That's not the
stuff
same
like
as curtains, though. I'm sorry. I'm a big believer in curtains. I mean, I will admit, I've got vertical blinds at my window in my room, but I also have curtains. My curtains are never, I can count on one hand how many times I've actually closed my curtains, but I like to have them there because it's a comfort thing. It's a homely thing. And they're always there if I decide, I want a big patch of black on my wall, because my curtains are black. And as well, sometimes if it's extremely bright, I mean, you don't know. I mean, if you're on a starship and you're like, I don't know, you're observing a nebula or a strange anomaly. It could be extremely bright, and if you're trying to bloody sleep and you've got that coming through your window, draw the curtains.
Well, that kind of
what that
the lower decks when Boimler got those new quarters right by the nacelles, and he was being blinded from the lights of the nacelles.
I remember that episode.
Yeah, so curtains come in handy. And they frame a window. I'm sorry, I'm all for my interior design.
Something back to this particular, like what we talk about, like this the holodeck, this holodeck and stuff and everything else. It's an interesting technology. Now, let's say for real world application for everybody and stuff like that. Let's just throw this out here. How much power will it take to power something like this, this piece of technology and stuff and everything else? And given our limitations of technology, would you guys think that somewhere in the not so far distant future they could come up with a practical application where, they can create, a simulation of something that's so real world, but yet it's confined to a little space. And as we saw too, in because you can only go so far, because the holodeck is only what's that 6-sided room. Basically, it's a 6-sided room, and when you walk, you're gonna walk into a wall. When you're moving around, the program shift and everything else and stuff. But how they set it up, it's like, how would real world application, besides having, like, in a virtual set, but how would you be practical, like, you walk onto a real world holodeck and stuff and everything else. And it's something interesting, because I know a lot of engineers, scientists have looked at, both TNG back in, well, not just TNG, but like TOS and TNG, the props that they use on the show for medical or scientific stuff like that, they had actually made practical. Some of the stuff had became practical applications in real world we have seen and stuff and everything else. Just how far do you guys think this the holodeck can be a practical real world application? Not in our lifetime, because I don't see something like that happening in a lifetime. You could create a 3-dimensional, life form that's suspended in a containment field, force field, that looks like, an avatar of yourself or others.
Let me.
Anything real world application for a holodeck? I mean, you do bring up an interesting point about, like, walking into walls and things. That there would have to be some form of, like, movable floor.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
and or like basically, in all honesty, I believe that to some degree, a real world application of a holodeck, the room would possibly have to be round. Now, just hear me out on this, because if you were to have, like, a moving floor, the floor could only go in so many directions. But if it was more circular, then basically, if you started walking in a certain direction, the floor could turn in that particular direction, so that it was always leading you away from the edge of the room. And so I do believe that a real world application of a holodeck, it could possibly have to be circular for that to work, because then, like, the entire floor could be like one big turntable, and if you start walking towards the back wall, it could very slowly turn you away from that wall. And if I don't know, but that's how it processes in my brain for real world application.
I heard Phil was going to say something.
I was two things. One is I've actually kind of thought the same thing. I always thought if one day we ever reach the point of making something like that, would it actually be in a cube-shaped room, or would it have to be something spherical for people to move around enough properly and for things to shift properly, if it would have to be like that? But the other thought too is I've always kind of thought I feel like we're very slowly moving in that direction with especially with the technology of video games and now these VR headsets that you can do things. I mean, eventually it's going to get to the point where it's not going to be a headset. It'll be something physical that you are actually walking into. And I feel like in the next 100 years or more, that's something we're going to eventually, our ancestors may eventually start seeing is that expansion of that technology. But a real world application,
how far away do you think that somebody's going to, there's a team of engineers that will have something like that, in the beta testing? Like, do y'all think it's like a 50 years in the future, 100 years in the future?
I don't know, because in the last like 100 years, technology and engineering in general has evolved more than in like the 2000 years previous to that. So I'm unsure as to how far in the future it is, because there's actually a university in the south of England. I think, is it Oxford? I can't remember. But they're actually playing around with transporter technology.
Both Sean and Jim are saying some very interesting stuff in chat that I noticed. Yeah. Oh yeah,
they're actually playing around with transporter technology, and I think somewhere else in the world they're playing around with replication technology. So it could be as soon as 10 years, it could be as long as 100 years. It all depends, because if you think about it, when Star Trek first aired in the late 60s, a lot of scientists, a lot of engineers, that they got a lot of ideas, and a lot of communications companies got so many ideas. The cell phone, especially the Samsung flip phone, that was a direct idea from the communication devices from TOS. And the little earpiece that Uhura has, that is the result. Like Bluetooth headsets and the tablets that they have, that is also what helped develop touchscreen cell phones, tablets, and also like the view screen for two-way video communication. Yeah, and laptop computers as well. That was like the first evolution of that. And then like the two-way video calls, like technology like what we're using now. The majority of this is derived from ideas in Star Trek. And so it begs the question, how fast are scientists and students and just people in general with ideas, how fast are they wanting things to move?
You spoke on that, and I seen what Jim said in chat and everything else, and Sean, they have some really, they made some really good comments in chat.
Oh yeah.
The thing about the one thing too is at universities or colleges and stuff and everything else, because I know young minds have such interesting ideas to bring to the forefront when it comes to technological achievement and stuff and everything else. You got MIT, you got Caltech, you got the guys who helped create a rocketry, American rocketry and stuff, or I should say JPL. They was going to get kicked out, but they was given the set of land in LA and stuff and everything else outside of LA, and was like, okay, you can't do it here, but we give you this little plot and everything else, and we got what, Jack Parsons, which is questionable, but he was a brilliant person and stuff. Then you got a lot of MIT stuff that came out of MIT and everything else. And I'm glad that Jim brought that up about like adults at the time made fun of it, but their offshoots, their kids made it real world practical and stuff and everything. So we got what, Steve Jobs You know, he bought us the wonderful world of, you know, the personal computers and stuff and everything else. You know, Bill Gates, you know, he bought us the wonderful world of, you know, computer, you know, programs, or you say uh whatever stuff. But needless to say, you got these guys who started out in such a way that we see the technology, and then Star Trek has came about, and they gave us these ideas and stuff and everything else. Like we talked about this in the previous episode, and we're not getting off subject at hand and stuff and everything, because we're still talking about, you know, this particular episode just going on, you know, with this particular episode. But one thing too that I really find fascinating about what Star Trek has, especially Next Gen, what they did for us is they created a technology where it's in your hands, and you can run the device over a body, or you can you can scan it, you can just hold it in the air, you can scan or something like that. The handheld tricorder. The tricorder has the ability to do things not just for, you know, they can scan, you know, and diagnose, you know, medical ailments and stuff and everything else, which is it'd be such a wonderful tool for doctors in like an ER, or somewhere like on a battlefield, or somewhere like not
Drop that link there, Dave.
What's that?
I said drop that link in the chat, Dave.
I say I've dropped it in there. I can drop it again.
Yeah, drop it again.
Not to get political, but like what's happening in the, you know, in Gaza and stuff like that, like doctors without borders. If you could say doctors who could have a handheld tricorders and stuff and everything, just think about that. Or like engineers and stuff, you know, can have these little things. And I know somewhere, you know, some think tanks or some, you know, engineers are working on something like that. And I suspect that they probably have some sort of prototype and everything, but not the way you have them in such a way that we see in Star Trek and everything else. You know, I could see something like that, those kind of technology coming about, you know, within our lifetime and everything else and stuff, because it will change and revolutionize how medicine and the way we basically. Let me give you an example. Say this, especially here in the U.S. Police officers standoff. You know, they can't see what's inside of a building or a house or something like that. They need to. They could scan. They can scan, and they can see, you know, what they need to do and stuff and everything. That's just my take and everything else. Just seeing, to able to see beyond your own, what your own eyes can see and stuff and everything else.
They can do that now, though. They can do that now. They can do that 20 years ago. I can do that now.
Yeah. So welcome to the chat, Sean.
Hey, man. It's been a while since I've been on.
Welcome, Sean.
You can do that with infrared. You can do that with all types of... they have that. Also, anything that you see or know about is 20 years behind. It already exists, but it's just kept under wraps. And the sad thing about the doctors and everything else is that our whole system is set up to not have that come out. You know, it's set up to not release that and to not further that, because it doesn't save. It saves people, but it also saves money. So that's not the way things work. I was telling Zach, everybody last week, I was a kid, and my friend was a mechanic, real smart guy, and he showed me designs for an engine using magnets. And he was like, "Yeah, man, this would you'd never have to change the oil, and this would last like 100 years." And I was like, "Wow, man, when are you gonna make it?" "Oh, I'm never gonna make it. I'm gonna try and sell it to the oil companies, and then they'll just patent it and bury it, but I'll make millions." I'm like, "What are you talking about?" It never entered my mind, but he already had it worked out, you know, the way things are. And sadly, that's kind of how things are.
Yeah.
It's all about money. It's all about profit. And if a lot of these things were released, companies would lose money because, you know, they wouldn't use the intelligence that they were given to think, oh, well, you know, if we were to transfer over to this and spend the money to train people up to work on, build, maintain all of these things, you know, that they could, if it is all about money, they could end up making so much more. But one thing that they don't think about is, you know, you have to spend money to make money. And this is why a lot of things now that like a cure for cancer or certain technologies are not being released because it's all about freaking money.
Yeah. And if you had that tricorder, if a doctor just did this and that just eliminated 12 tests that cost $500 each, by doing this, no, you know. As far as the tech,
but you know, the idea of it, in the principal general idea of it sounds fascinating. Is y'all all bring up, you know, really interesting and logical reasons why something like that wouldn't be for our lifetime, because of, you know, because there are people who are stubborn and holdbacks, and they don't want to progress when it comes to, you know, such technology. Just as this technology we've seen, like this the holodeck and stuff and everything. What would you guys say about the holodeck and stuff in real world application? What possible reason would, besides people say, you know, just having a fantasy, but like, who would use the holodeck for general purposes if we had that kind of holo technology? What would people, what organizations, who would use the organization? And also too, I hate to put it like this, but like somebody once said, all technology is hackable. And if you get people out there who think, you know what, I'm a hacker, I feel the need to just mess around with people. I just want to troll and just mess around with somebody. I'm going to hack something to, you know, do something, you know, what they call it, swatting, like somebody do the swatting thing and stuff and everything.
Well, everything goes to porn. I mean, you look at all technology for VHS. Porn took over. Porn made the decision between VHS and beta. Look at DVDs. Look at streaming. Look at digital, and then look at AI. Where is the biggest amount of AI money going right now? AI girlfriends, AI porn, AI deepfakes, all that kind of stuff. It's what
crazy. I see that. Oh man!
You know? Can I drop the name
on that? And we'll talk about the Neuralink. So Neuralink, right now they're talking about how it can cure blindness because they can just beam images in. If you're a blind person, you can, because we don't really use our eyes. Our brain interprets what the eyes, the light, and it tells us what we see. Yeah. So it just kind of cuts the eyes out, and it basically blind people can see. But if they can do that, then they could put in anything. They could put in fake images, like you're talking about hacking. You could literally see a dinosaur, and it's a real dinosaur. You see it right there, but it's just, you know, it's just your brain just being told that you see it. And that's real. That's here.
Oh boy, that's hacking your brain. You know, that's putting false imageries and stuff.
You're going to say something, Zach, to what John was saying?
To what Jim's saying though about it wouldn't be so profitable. It actually would be, because if you're able to implement certain scenarios and say people are getting hacked in their brain, or even government forces do such just to control people, maybe for a profitable margin for subsidy for corporations, you could create a new addiction apparatus or mental illness that ends up forcing people to have to go and get more help. So there would be a profit motive if you wanted to go to negative, the extreme negative.
That's weird. You bring up mental illness. I wonder if you could create an actual virus and upload someone's brain. That's just a weird thing to think of.
Terrifying. Yeah.
But also, speaking of mental illness and stuff, the positive side of like real world applications for like holo technology and things like that, and like holodecks, it could act like people that suffer like really bad phobias, or that they need to work on certain issues. Holodecks could actually be a safe environment to do that if you really think about it a lot deeper than just on the surface. Because if you think about it, you could, Like if you've got like, I don't know, really bad issues with a family member, for example, you know, but that, I don't know, like that family member is no longer here, but you've got unresolved issues, you could create a holodeck simulation and you could proper hash it out with them in a safe enviorment, and that could be all the therapy you need because you just need
They
to
have
get
that actually.
out.
They have that now. They've been working on it. They worked on it for about 5 or 6 years ago. I did a couple of reviews on a couple of companies, and it was expensive. It was like up to $1 million. They have like 3 tiers: $250,000, $500,000, and like $1 million. But basically, it was, you know, towards the beginning of AI. It was AI learning. You would interact with this AI for months, just constantly talking to you. It would ask you questions. It would get to know. It would become you. And then after you died, it would be like an NFT form, but your family could go talk to you. And they don't have that, you know, hologram technology. If they did, that would be even weirder. But it would be an actual AI version of you that you had interacted with for like at least half a year. And then it would answer. It would talk to your family members. They can go anytime. They could argue with you. They could tell you off. They could, you know, get love from you. So that was all. And I'm sure that was like 5 to 8 years ago that I was, you know, looking at those. So that's probably way now. I'm sure anyone could afford it. It's, you know, it would be super cheap. But that was an idea back then.
You know, real quick, guys, because I'm not trying to get off subject at hand and stuff, and I know we're at 10 o'clock East Coast time. I just recently watched last month, or went to go see the Superman movie, James Gunn's Superman movie and stuff like that. Love it and everything. I know people probably hate it and stuff, but real quick, the behind the scenes and stuff like that. When I watched him do interviews, James Gunn talked about, like, you know, because this is the first time we ever seen the dog Crypto on the big screen. So I was watching the interview with him, and he talked about how he modeled Crypto after his dog Ozu. And he said that they 3D scanned him through the scan. He took his dog in to work with him one day, and I mean, he's his dog. I don't know if the dog is obedient trained now and stuff like that, but in the beginning he wasn't. But they put him in, I guess, however they 3D scan us. They 3D scan this dog, and you wouldn't think that it's a, you know, a dog on. You look at the Crypto on screen, you think, oh, that's a real dog and everything, but it's actually, you know, a computer generated image and stuff and everything. And you look at that and you see that we can 3D scan. You know, if you can 3D scan a dog, in a sense, you could do that with a human being.
There's a few companies that do that now. A couple of them, they're in like most major cities. You can get it done. It's not very expensive, but you can get that done. They put it on a NFT, and you can actually load it and play some of your favorite games as yourself.
You know what? This reminds me of a particular X-File episode back in the late, I think it was the late 2000s, or if it was in 1999 or 2000. They did, because I remember they was investigating how can, basically, literally, they had it was like a holodeck game. They was playing a giant videos, like, you know, first person. They call it first person shooter, and it was similar to a holodeck and stuff and everything. But people was actually getting killed. And I remember, you know, the scientific in and out stuff like that needs to say, not to get too much into it, but I remember the so-called, you know, antagonist was a female in there, a female that was literally, they took and they picked her, the police picked her up in Culver City, and they said, and, you know, Agent Scully was interviewing her with Agent Mulder, and she was like, well, yeah, that's me, but I was paid to have my body scanned. That was all I did. She was like, you think that's the weirdest thing that people ever done? But it was just simply, at that time, you know, I was like, oh, that was pretty interesting. That, you know, it was the female programmer who scanned the prostitute, because she was a prostitute. She scanned her body because she wanted to make an avatar of a game that she was creating herself. And it was it was a pretty interesting episode. I don't know if anybody ever remember that, but it was called
I vaguely remember. It's been forever since I've watched it, but I
Yeah,
vaguely
and
recall something
it
like that.
remind me of
Mhm.
everything that we've been talking about, especially like how about like James Gunn scanning his dog, and like what you said too, Sean. And it's just like the technology is it's becoming more prevalent now. That you can make a computer version or AI version of an avatar of yourself, or companies can make an avatar of yourself. And that's
Yeah.
getting into the whole hollow. You could say holodeck technology, in a sense.
Yeah, NASA's been working on the holodeck. It's kind of funny because they have they modeled it after Star Trek, which all technology seems to do that. But they have the black and yellow, the checkerboard thing. It makes me think of an old episode of Star Trek, the original series. Remember where they landed in this like utopian perfect planet, where the people had done away with war, but not killing each other. And they would say, we've been at war for like 100, 500 years or whatever. And all these people just attacked, and they used nuclear weapons here, and they used chemical warfare here. We just lost 150,000 people. And Spock, and it's like, I didn't feel anything. Kirk's like, I don't feel anything. Spock's like, there's no residual radiation. He's like, oh, it's all computer generated. But then the people go kill themselves. All these, hundreds of thousands. And they were like, you're insane. They're like, hey, man, this is how we saved ourselves. And it's like just their buildings and things were saved, but the people were. I thought that was one of the craziest episodes, but it was something like what you're talking about.
Oh, what you talking about? I believe I remember that episode. Yeah. I'm going to go back and rewatch that. I think I know what you're talking about.
It was weird. It's weird to me that they like think that saving their civilization was saving stuff, and the people still just walked into little chambers because they were told to, and they were dead because the computer said so.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
I've been a very long time. I think I know which episode you're talking about too.
Yeah, and then Kirk, ruined the computer, so now you really have to attack yourself, and you have to and they're like, no, that's horrific.
And Katie's just shrugging her shoulders.
We don't want to do that. That's horrific. And they're like, yeah, war is supposed to be horrific. You made it all clean and nice, so that's why you've been doing it for 1,000 years. So, but yeah.
I'm sorry.
Am I
Anybody else
the
want to
only
chime in?
person here? Am I the only person
I'm
here
listening.
who thinks that we're getting too reliant on technology too quickly and putting too much faith in it? Because I've been in cars recently, like taxis and things, and people don't know how to reverse now without a bloody camera to guide them.
No one in America knows how to
like,
drive a stick.
Yeah.
Oh, I know. Don't even get me started on that. But it like there's all these like cameras for reversing and cruise control and self-drive cars and cars that park themselves, and I'm just like, whoa, hold on a minute. If people are getting used to this, and there's a major glitch in technology. People nowadays who drive a lot of people nowadays who drive a car because of all this technology
We're heading towards driverless cars.
They're going to be screwed because they don't know how to drive manual. They don't know how to reverse park without camera assist. They don't know how to parallel park.
They don't know how to write or read in cursive. I mean,
exactly.
They don't know how to think.
That's the long-term thing. But you can ask AI itself what's going to happen, and they're like, the AI will tell you, "Oh, you're going to be too dependent on us within 2 or 3 years, and you won't be able to exist without us." It's like it's a terrible thing you're doing.
I'm not going to lie. I went on a retreat this weekend. Barely had my phone. I had
you know what? I would love
reasons.
to do
that. And that's something I've heard and I tried. If I don't have my phone, I feel nervous.
Yeah.
And it's I don't like that feeling because I grew up without it. I grew up, having to call someone on a phone. I don't know my kids' phone numbers. Most people don't know their own, but I don't know what my kids' phone numbers are. It's because it's all my name. You know, it's all saved in the phone. I pay the bill. That's the only time I can, and only the ones that are close to mine do I like. Oh, I think that's Alex's, and so we used to know so much more. Buying car, I was buying my kids' cars, you know, decades ago. It was like, oh, this car's like such a great deal. Yeah, it's a standard. I'm like, so I'll teach you. No.
Well, you look at it
Like
too. Most of us
who
who, well, you look at it, Sean, too. Most of us who grew up with telephone books, or you had to write someone's name or name and phone number down and everything, because we went by that and everything else and stuff. And you look at it like this. Let me throw this out. He mentioned that, you know, we're slaves, and you know, Dave said he's slave to his cell phone, and you know,
absolutely.
we're all slave to our, you know, technology right now. You
But
know,
on the flip side, in my defense, though, is the fact that my job requires the phone. So
okay,
it's like,
Sure.
would you characterize this as like what we say in Star Trek as like hollow addiction? It's a type of,
Yeah, I think we have an addiction.
absolutely,
Look,
absolutely.
It's attacking that dopamine, that
And the
pleasure
fact that you
drug
don't
of your
have it
brain.
makes you, if you get nervous when you don't have
Yep.
it, if you get skipped, you have all these feelings of dread. I mean, that's literally what addiction is, you know. And I tried it. I go to bed and leave your phone like in the kitchen.
Dennis is saying some very interesting stuff in
I'd be
comments.
fine with doing that. I really would. You see, you're right. A lot of people think that I am insane, but you know, a lot of people think I'm absolutely off my rocker because I have. I mean, fair enough. Yeah,
You're not?
Well, you know, I am, but you know, that's just between us. But yes, to some degree I'm reliant on technology. If I'm in my home alone, I will carry my cell phone around purely for health reasons, because I tend to randomly fall over, pass out, things like that. That's for health reasons. But I don't really use my cell phone all that much. Yes, I'm very reliant on it when I go out, but that's mainly for music because I don't do people. So I have music on whenever I go out.
You found a balance. You found a balance between, you know, being like so dependent to actually being less dependent.
You're definitely
well, yeah, but I'm prepared for any eventuality. I've got DVD players. I've got a shit ton of DVDs in case my internet goes down and I can't stream. But also, I have about 700 books just on the other side of that door. And if our electricity gets cut, I've got my books. I've got a lamp over there that is mains and battery powered. We have tons of batteries. I mean, honestly, we could open a candle store with how many candles we've got. I've also got little battery powered candles as well.
I gave away all my movies.
I got oil and oil lamps.
Movies. And then the electricity went out, or the internet goes out, and I own 6,000 movies digitally. Ridiculous amount of movies.
That's why you just get a whole bunch of books.
I'm screwed. So I have like 30 movies. They're all like Criterion Collection. You know, I have some series, but that's it. And then books, same. All, you know, audiobooks, but have some hardcovers. I've got audiobooks. But I think I'm weird. You're super weird. I think I'm the weirdo. I came off Facebook just to see, because when I had the phone thing, I was nervous. I'm like, I'm going to cut just Facebook for like 2 weeks. And I had people come into my house like, hey, what's wrong? I saw you were gone on Facebook. What's going on? I'm like, oh, I just wanted to just not have it for 2 weeks. Why?
Yeah.
Are you okay? What's wrong? Are you going to kill yourself? People literally, I was like, no, I just didn't want to be on Facebook for 2 weeks. See if I just, how much it would bother me.
It was a little experiment for yourself.
And you're like, are you crazy? Why would you? I'm like, what? And I literally had to go back on after a week and just say, hey, I'm okay. Please stop texting me and coming over. You know, it was such a weird, and nobody understood it. Not one person that I know.
No, I can go days without interacting with the outside world in any way, shape, or form. No messages, no phone calls, none of this. You know, I can go for probably a couple of weeks just with me writing, reading, and I will be perfectly content, happy. I will be centered. I will be so at peace. But I still do like interacting with people. And a lot of people find it hard to get their head around.
I want to hear what
I
Phil has to
did.
say, 'cause he's been pretty quiet,
Yeah.
and I want to hear what he has to take on, you know, just a kind of subject we have. Phil, I mean, real quick, do you have any intake?
You're muted, Phil.
Yeah, I just because somebody keeps sending me messages coincidentally. I've been kind of just here listening to all this because I'm kind of of two minds of things on this. I don't know, because technology was always meant. They tell you technology is meant to just sort of enhance your life and not take over it, but it's the human nature, I think, to become addicted to things, and that's, I think, we've carelessly become addicted to so much that we haven't paid attention to what's really happening. Instead of these things enhancing, it has really overtaken us. It's become part of our jobs, part of our life, part of everything. So, but what do we do at this point? Like, what do you? I commented earlier in the tech. I mean, in Star Trek, the whole idea that this technology changed and came about, and also the end of money to be able to afford all this stuff, was it took a nuclear war to wipe everything out in Star Trek and start again. And they learned to adapt differently at that point. I mean, just to smarten them up. So I'm just going to take that. And
I saw your comment. I agree. I think that's the point we're at.
Yeah,
it's going to take some kind of shock, for people.
But at the same time, we've always we're not doing horse and buggies anymore. We don't. Who listens to an 8-track, right? Things still advance. So are we advancing too quickly? Are we?
That's a good fundamental question.
I think we are.
Well, hold the 8-track thing. I want to say something, because before now, there's some movies that were never put onto digital, were never put on DVD, were never put onto Blu-ray.
Yeah.
And I owned a VHS for certain movies until now. So that was something. So on the 8-track, if there's only albums you grew up with that you love that were only on 8-track, they haven't been put to digital, then you would hunt for an 8-track player and you would have it to listen to those every now and then. And I remember what you were saying about technology is supposed to help us, and we're supposed to use it. Two things. One, Churchill, never let a good crisis go unused. So the people that want to control you are going to use that and try to use technology.
Rahm Emanuel.
And then Prince, he said, use technology, the internet and all that, but don't let it use you.
Yes.
And I think that's the point where people are getting to, where it's using us.
It's using us, yeah.
But no, my old man, he's got an old 8-track car radio in his shop. He's got it jury rigged to some sort of power supply that just plugs into
That's awesome.
the 120 volts. And I remember growing up listening to a lot of those.
I'll listen to 8-track
too. Jim says he's got one hooked up to a car battery at his cabin. So
get addicted to beads.
Yeah.
Also, if there is any kind of nuclear stuff, or
depends what type of beads,
that'll still work. There's no computer chips in that. There's an EMF's not going to control that stuff.
Oh God,
you're right, Sean.
Oh, hey, oh my God.
Was that really set that one up for me? I'm sorry.
And it took me.
I did set that one up.
Yeah, my blonde hair took me a couple of minutes to like.
What I miss?
I said get addicted to beads, and I held up my rosary, and Katie said depends on what kind of beads.
So
Oh God.
Sorry.
Now I got a vision of Quagmire just playing with those anal beads. It's like, what's going on.
You know why they have waste distraction from the holodecks? People who extract the waste from the holodeck.
Yeah, they talk about that. That's like the inside joke.
They do. Mhm.
Yeah,
I
but
was
People
wondering
like
about
to
that.
That's-
play with
I
bees.
don't have
I
to.
was wondering about that when
Back
they eat and drink because they swallow it. So
Exactly. That's why I'm always curious
when they
about that
walk
too.
off
That
the holodeck, does that just
Well,
appear inside them?
wouldn't the holodeck just like a I'll have drawing a blank. The
This is super
reconstitute.
nerd stuff.
reconstitutor, no, the other one.
Demolecularize.
Yeah,
Not a
Earl Grey,
Recycle?
Earl Grey tea.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. Anyways,
Waterworld.
replicator.
Replicator.
Reconstitute.
Yeah. So because they have a replicate, like you would, that would be enmeshed into the technology of the holodeck. So
They're the same
They're getting-
technology, but one's
Yeah.
temporary and one's real.
that's
One only exists on the holodeck. That's what they, because when you eat it, because that's what I was wondering, because it just, I guess it doesn't have the protein molecules to reconstitute. Computer, turn on Studio One. It doesn't have the protein molecules to reconstitute to make it real food. But I thought like you could eat a bunch and then walk off and be like, whoosh, it's gone.
basic
Yeah.
general principle is
Modulator.
the basic general principle of the holodeck is lights and force field. That's the thing. Of general
Photons and
principle
force
is,
fields.
yeah, it's just lights and stuff like that and everything else. But when it comes to the food part, it's like I always question. You eating this fake stuff, and does it have it to me? It doesn't seem like it have any taste. There's no substance to it. It'd be like something that is just very bland. When you bite down into it, it just dissolves. Just like a beverage, it would just dissolve. Like you can't get drunk. You can't get drunk on a holodeck.
Well, when
Because it's not
the last episode of Strange New Worlds, she drank the martini, and they were drinking drinks, and she was like, "Oh, it tastes good." I'm like, "But how?"
how to
Wasn't that a holodeck character, or who was it drank it?
I think the poisonous one was a holodeck character.
Oh yeah,
I
that was
think
the
I think
holodeck.
La'an drank something too. So, I don't know, it was weird.
Yeah, see
that is interesting.
And when she drank that poisonous martini, again, that just so over the top 60s acting. She's like, oh.
The Kirk
bringing that
playing
back.
Kirk was really good.
What's that?
Kirk playing Kirk.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, when he was doing, they were
Paul
doing
Wesley.
the show.
Yeah.
That was so good. Yeah.
Yeah, but
They're like, why can't you just act like a human being? Deliver the line like a human.
Yeah. But probably the line of the episode would be right at the end when Una was talking to Scotty to say, asking for help is not a weakness, it is a strength.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And
Absolutely.
And with my path on sobriety, that really hit hard. To say I am one that's always afraid to ask for help when I need the help the most.
I've never been, but I think it helps if you're just so focused on the mission, whatever you're doing. It's like that's the most important thing is getting this done, and that's because I've always wondered that because people are different than me, and they're like worry about certain things that I don't worry about, and I worry about different things that other people don't worry about. And that's something I never had a problem with, but I've always been like so focused on getting whatever is done, and so wouldn't mind asking for help. I don't care if I look weak or stupid or whatever, because this is the most important thing. But if I didn't get that done, then I would be messed up. Whereas a lot of people are like, I did my best, and I couldn't that had to get done.
Would y'all say this particular version of Scotty is a perfectionist in a sense? You saw him stuff like that. He singularly focused on the task at hand, and as you were just saying, Sean, too, when people become those singular focus and stuff and everything else, and they don't ask for help or anything else, is it because of they want to come off as not egotistical but perfectionist and showing that look, I've done this, and it was voila,
I think they hit on that because that was supposed to be like a really big deal because he trusted. It's a trust issue with him because he trusted his supervisor on the other ship that they did something, and he didn't double check it. And then the Gorn killed everybody. He's the only one that survived. And he was like, if I would have double checked that and I didn't trust them, then I may have saved everyone's life. Everyone died because of me, because I trusted that person, because I let them. So that's why he was so focused on, I got to get it's all got to be me, because it all has to come down to me, because if there's any problems, I'm the one that is I'm going to hold myself responsible for everything. That's one thing with the characters on this show. I missed the beginning of the show, but I love how everyone is at that stage. Like this Spock is my favorite Spock because it's like before he becomes much more Vulcan, like with Kirk, and he's still you know what I mean. Scotty is not fully Scotty. It's like they're all kind of in between.
The characters are in their infancy.
Yeah. It is nice to see them grow and know how they're going to be when they're in stone.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And there's been some talk amongst some of the circles about when Strange New Worlds ends, do the continuation with Kirk in command and kind of redo TOS to a certain extent. Do stuff that's between those episodes, sort of thing. I don't know if that'll work out because, again, Katie, not a big fan of Paul Wesley. But I'll see how he grows.
She's not a fan. She's not a fan of William Shatner either.
Although I have said that Paul Wesley did win some points in this episode for me. So I am slowly warming to him. I'll never warm to Shatner, though. I just know.
I think you're right on that, Dennis. I think year one sounds right. Year one's been used a lot in things. I think the Batman graphic novels had a year one. That comes to mind immediately.
Yeah. So guys, just real quick, remember stuff. I know Dave's gonna probably be wrapping this up soon and stuff and everything else and whatnot.
It's 10:30 for you, man, and it's Ozark's 30 for Katie.
Just how you see all of us, and Sean came in just a little while ago and stuff and everything. You can interact with all of us live, both in chat and if you do not want to be on camera, you don't have to be on camera. You can come and you can do voice. Exactly.
Voice your ups and downs and all that, but one thing
we wanted a few like channels to offer this abilities for people to interact, because we want feedback, we want live interactions, both visually, audio, or even in chat and everything else, because that what makes it more fun when there's more of us interacting than there's just two of us.
But yeah, earlier I was mentioning
also follow. I'm the only person following the channel, so follow. And it's like,
well, we got about 45 people that are following me on YouTube right now. So hopefully I'll get more. On Rumble is new. That's something that Zach's doing.
Zach's in Rumble. So
that is that's new, everybody. So every Monday on the Legacy Right Rumble, jump on and check out Technically Correct. So
and
on channel.
And I actually just finally broke down, and I paid for the check mark on Twitter /X, and the viewership's already jumping dramatically since the beginning of the episode. So I'm thinking a lot of the stuff that we've had in the past is from Zach's X channel. So I think it might be worth it. But what's also worth is shared a picture of Winnie.
No.
Yeah,
Oh, I
see,
missed that
Aw.
part.
yeah, you can see the half black, half white face. There's just like, you got a Star Trek dog. It's like, holy shit, I do.
Yes, you do. Oh, I love that part.
Yeah, see, whenever I lay down in my bed, she was
Aw.
usually just plopped right there. I say I miss her to pieces, but saying she moving here to Colorado wasn't in the cards. Saying it was a joint ownership, as even though my roommate paid for the adoption fees since I adopted a cat there about 18 years before, the adoption paperwork had my name on it. So, but
Can I mention something super quick? Because it just reminded me of something really quick. Because I was away for 3 weeks, and so I missed the coverage of like 3 episodes. Because I want to jump in and say this really quick. Because Travis and I were talking about this earlier in the week. How much I loved actually the second episode of which was the Q. What's his name?
Wedding Bell Blues.
Trelane, thank you. There was a moment that I actually had to stop that maybe burst out laughing, and I don't know if anyone else caught it, but it was towards the end at the wedding, and the Irish guy got turned into a dog.
Yep.
I don't know if anyone else caught the
Corby.
background. There was someone in the background that went, "Aw."
Yeah.
See, I think I might have heard that. I'll have to
I
listen
burst
to it
out
again.
laughing, and I had to stop and go back. Did I hear that right? I couldn't stop laughing for about 5 minutes.
I actually did catch that because I'm just like, I want to know who that person is because I will be friends with them.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, to this day, the only time I've ever stopped a Star Trek episode because I was laughing so much was the season 2 episode from Picard when Seven and Raffi were on the bus, and it was the same punk blast music.
The guy, yes.
Yeah. And it was the same
I had a
actress.
feeling that was coming. Even before it happened, I weirdly had a feling that scene was coming. But
You know what?
I didn't pick up on it, but when they had the music, I still hate you. I was like, no. And then we went to the cat inside the bus, and
It's
it was
funny.
like,
He wasn't in San Francisco. He was in L.A.
No,
yeah. Now he went to
You know what
LA.
Easter egg I found like last night?
Hmm.
So the whole dramatic thing with Pike and the Gorn killing those that colony and all that.
Mm-hmm.
That's the reason Kirk fought the Gorn in that old episode. He was yelling at him about you killed that colony on Cestus 3. It was like,
yeah.
I can't believe I never caught that, but
yeah. So yeah, total dig on that. Same, but of course,
and then
it also explained why
in Star Trek After Dark, everybody. Kirk doesn't fight the Gorn. He has sex with the Gorn.
Did you see the PlayStation commercial?
It was a female Gorn. No.
Did you see the PlayStation commercial where they're playing? And it's
that's kind of made a resurgence lately on YouTube and whatnot. But yeah, like all those little Easter eggs at the end of the episode I mentioned early on when I didn't even say it yet and you're laughing, Katie. What the heck?
I'm sorry, I blame Zach.
But when Kirk attempted the Riker maneuver on the captain's chair and just failed miserably, and they actually played the original series theme song during the credits too.
Yeah.
And with the original series font and all that.
So that was nice.
Yeah, so just I was laughing at that, but I didn't have to pause it like that bus scene. Cat Katie.
Now see what you've done.
Flipped upside down.
Shows my state of mind right now. I blame Zach.
Overall, everybody, just real quick. How did everybody feel in particular about this episode? Tyson already gave us his, he gave us kind of his thumbs down for this particular episode. But in general, everybody just sum up your thoughts real quick on this particular episode. I'm curious to hear everybody's thoughts. And, because of.
Well, we'll start with Phil and then kind of loop around. Well, actually, we'll start with you, Travis. Go to Phil, Sean, Zach, Katie, then myself. So kind of just kind of do a little clockwise action going there.
You said start with me. Okay, it was it was a sigh of relief in a sense because they went through, like I was saying. I think I said this on a particular episode of ours where they go through a period of this horrible traumatic experience where people die and everything else, and there's a life lesson altering, changing for a lot of people, which we've seen that changes for the helmsman. um I'm blanking on her name right now.
Erica.
On.
Erica, yes, Erica. She's going through some, some changes with herself and everything else, and it's almost a lighthearted in a sense, just like the previous episode, in a sense, with after they, with the whole Trelane thing stuff and everything else. You saw that the ship wasn't in so much danger, that they put the ship in danger somewhat, but not in danger of another adversary and stuff and everything else. This was a type of natural disaster danger and stuff and everything, but it all worked itself out. To see that it kind of goes back to the whole trope of each episode of Strange New World is different from its counterpart. They may touch based on something, but I enjoy the the different episodic nature of each episode that is not of the previous.
That's what I was just thinking, episodic nature. Then that's one thing that has made Strange New Worlds great, is the fact that it's not a whole freaking season story arc for each episode. If you miss one episode, you're out of the loop.
All right, Phil.
I'm going to say two things super quick. One is so as regards to the episode, I enjoyed it. There was a lot of I like that kind of intro and all the retro stuff they did there, but that's, I guess, the artsy part of me in that. It's not maybe in my top 10 favorite, but it's also not in my 10 worst either. You know what I mean? So it's somewhere floating around the middle. But overall I still kind of really enjoyed it. If I was to like rewatch the season again, I'd still watch it again. So, but yeah, I did like it. Can I mention something super quick too, so that you can wrap up at the end? I did want to mention. Earlier this week, I was invited Dave and Katie that I was doing sort of at the end of one of my own streams on my channel to invite them over to maybe just talk a little bit about Trek, because I had missed the last 3 weeks. But I'm thinking of maybe doing something like that on somewhat of a regular basis. So if we don't get if somebody misses this week or doesn't get a chance to, we can talk about some things. And I want to talk about a few things in pop culture, not just Star Trek, but I also want to do one on kaiju, because I'm a big Godzilla fan, actually. So I wanted to do something on that. I think I might. I have two channels, actually, because I have my Phil Chandler Arts, and I also have another one called Life with Phil that I'd like to. That's sort of a connected channel, I guess. In YouTube, they're linked. So I might actually just do it on that channel, so I can keep my other one mainly for art. But if I do that again, I'll mention that to everybody. I'll try and give some advance notice this time. I didn't think of it until at the last second, but I'll definitely keep everyone in the loop on that. So, but yeah, that's all.
Definitely.
Yeah,
absolutely. Thank you, Phil.
Yeah,
Sean.
I thought the episode was great, but it leans into the things that I kind of like about the show, which a lot of the critics don't like. It's basically that it doesn't take itself serious enough. A serious Trek, but I like that it's fun, but it doesn't try to like mix it. It's like, this is just fun. We know it's fun. We're not taking ourselves serious. But then there's some episodes that are very serious, and like the Orville, it's more of a fun show that gets serious sometimes. I think this is a much more balanced, show. Sometimes it's very serious, but then this was just kind of a fun show that was decent, good decent sci-fi.
Yeah.
But yeah, I thought it was pretty good. At least, like Philip said, I don't think it was like my my top ones, but it was fun, and I loved how they kind of lampooned the the old show.
Oh,
and a lot of things like how that one chick fought for the show and did all that. That was Lucille Ball.
Yep,
She's the one that,
absolutely.
they had her look kind of like that, and just little nods to that I thought were kind of neat.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's season 4, so definitely looking forward to that,
Good
Dennis.
episode.
Yeah, the
That's
Muppet
already
episode.
ruffling a lot of feathers.
Yeah, and the Henson
Mhm.
Company is actually involved in that
Yeah.
episode, so these are proper Muppet puppets.
Yeah.
Yeah, but doesn't that prove that Star Trek is on the decline?
No, I say,
So,
I think
yes.
like Sean said with this episode, it's just a fun episode. So I think you got to have at least one fun episode.
If Next Gen was running today, and you heard there was going to be a Robin Hood episode where they were all going to be in Robin Hood, people would probably lose their minds about that. And yet, I know people who love that episode. So,
Oh yeah,
that was a good episode.
It was.
Considering Patrick Stewart's a thespian.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Back to the roots.
We invented sci-fi nerds created the community, you know, for Star Wars, and then Star Trek took it to the next level. And it's like, oh, you want to take away a show? We don't care. We're gonna have conventions. What's a convention? Oh, people from all over the world gonna come together. We're just gonna watch Star Trek and sell stuff and make stuff, and but it's dead. This has been canceled. No, we have created our own thing. I made spaceships and I'm selling, it's a whole weird phenomenon where now the internet, it's all based on that. There's different communities and all that. And Star Trek's never existed where it can be under the microscope of this until now. Even Deep Space Nine and Voyager wasn't, it was in the beginning of that. Babylon 5 was like in the beginning of the internet. And whereas now we have like every Tom, Dick, and Harry. Look at this show. We're all sitting here talking about this never happened before, where other people could see us, and other people's opinions would go out. It was just a very small section of Hollywood and New York that would say, this is good, this is bad, this is silly, this is not taking itself serious. Where now it's people in the community listening to other people in the community. So it's kind of a new phenomenon.
And you know what, real quick, not to, I know I have my time to speak and everything else, and I know we're getting around. But one thing too that I appreciate about Star Trek, when they did it, Deep Space Nine, not Deep Space Nine, Enterprise, not Enterprise. TNG did not really do it until the Robin Hood episode. I could say when they went off set. They started filming things that was on real location, scenery and stuff like that and everything else, and it gives it such a more better taste because Deep Space Nine did it quite a bit. Voyager and Enterprise, they did it quite a bit. It's like it takes that type of from the sound stage to the outside. Where TOS, they did it quite a bit too. They went from the soundstage, they went out what was that? Where he fight the Gorn.
I'm not a married man.
Yeah, I was gonna mention I protest. I am not a married man, and then later on he grabs Geordie's little whatever and just and he hands it back to him. Sorry,
he was the best married man. He really was.
He was like the underrated star of that episode.
Yeah.
To make you go full circle, that was the original reason why they made the holodeck on Next Generation, was so they didn't. That was like the excuse to why we're going off the ship when we're still on the ship, but now we can go off set because they were on the ship on the holodeck.
Yeah, but in Cupid, they were not. They were in some sort of huge generated fantasy.
And the parts when Deanna shot Data with an arrow.
Yeah.
She's like, "Oh my God, are you okay?"
Yes.
Yeah, and Dave's like, "I'm fine.
I'm fine."
But even though he didn't get upset with her, it's just your aim's improving.
Zach, what are your thoughts on this episode?
I pass. No, I haven't really gotten into this yet. I'm gonna probably binge watch the heck out of it when I get a chance. Yeah, I gotta stream it. But from what it sounds like, they're just having fun with
Absolutely.
the holodeck, and it always you guys mentioned there's always a very climatic stretch leading into a fun, loving holodeck episode, and the pattern continues with this. I mean, so I'm gonna be I'm definitely looking forward to being able to
Except
sit
if
down
you
and watching it.
Loxana Troy and Alexander when you go on the holodeck for a mud bath.
Well, yeah, except for that.
You know, it's kind of fun because this was, and something that
That's
they're
still funny,
answering
though.
is like, this is why Next Generation didn't have a holodeck. They tried it,
Mhm.
and I was like, so as soon as they make a holodeck episode, there's a holodeck problem. What a shocker. And they ended the episode with, let's take this technology and file it away and never take it out again. This is too
Yeah, right.
risky.
Yeah.
This is nuts. And that was a joke to Next
Liquidation
Generation.
That's
Why
what I
would they
thought.
keep having a holodeck if they have all
Mhm.
these near universal destruction things because of it? They'd be like, nah, entertainment's not worth it. Take it out. But-
Yeah, but they never do. Katie?
I really loved this episode. It was fun. And I grew up with murder mysteries, Agatha Christie,
Yeah.
you know, Arthur Conan
Mhm.
Doyle. And I really liked it. It showed a different side of La'an. And she had that time to, all right, even though she was still kind of sort of doing her job, she was just allowed to express herself for a while, but also it allowed us to see the flappy Scotty and like running around like a headless chicken, which I absolutely love. He is absolutely adorable. I love the actor that was chosen to represent Scotty in this series. And it also gave us a little bit of history on the holodecks as well. And yeah, all round, I quite liked it. And I mean, I especially loved the fact that they basically just ragged the fuck out of Shatner.
Oh yeah.
I loved that, and
I knew
was
you
laughing so much at that because I'm just like, yes, that
I
is
thought of you when
exactly-
watching that.
and I'm just like, you know, the fact that it was pulled up for, like at the end, it was or like during that clip, he was pulled up about like delivering a line properly and learning how to act, and I'm just
that
like,
was so
yes, you know, like that is just Shatner, you know, he you know, and that is the entire reason I don't like TOS, and I'm just like, thank you.
I was dying. I was dying. Why do you talk like that? Why can't you talk like a human? Just talk like a regular person.
It's like when you've got a scratch on a DVD and it jumps and like people talk weird, the picture goes weird, but no, overall it was a lovely episode. I'm still not sure about the Spockler and Kiss, but I kind of saw it coming in the Trelane episode. And I'm interested to see where it goes. I don't know how I feel about it. And I'm also really glad that Una's hair is back to its usual style as well.
Yeah, definitely. That was gross.
What about Spock dancing?
She had bread on her head.
Nobody talk about Spock dancing. You know, he's doing that, you know, and stuff. I'm like,
Yeah, that's
pretty interesting.
Spock
I don't know,
dances.
but I don't know. I'm with Katie on that. I feel weird. It's like, oh, they're adorable together. They're great, but I know how it ends up, and it's like this is wrong. You know, like I understood the nurse, you know, Chapel, and then I understood, you know, him and his girl. I thought that was cool how they were like super close, and then she stabs in the back later. That's all neat.
Sean, we touched about that earlier before you came on, and we all had some good ideas and stuff because I'm like, I figured out, it's supposed to be a professional ship, and you're on a long-term mission and stuff. I'm not saying that y'all gonna have people gonna have sex with
I
each
saw
other, but getting
online
into a
that now it's
relationship-
Strange New Worlds 90210.
In all honesty, there was a lot of that in Next Gen. People just don't seem to register it.
Oh, there was a lot of sex in TNG.
Oh yeah, especially when it came to
Not
data.
overtly, but
that was
yeah.
in your
Suggestive
mind, though.
themes. Suggestive themes.
Well,
Sick
yeah,
mind,
and
you perverts. You Trekkies and your
Hey,
perverts. Your
it's innocent
perversion.
as the day I was hatched. Thank you very much.
let me place my photon torpedo in your torpedo bay.
I didn't know you was that way inclined, Travis. And I certainly aren't.
I'll inject you with
We've
my
un-
nanoprobes.
Yeah.
We've unleashed monsters.
Oh, my Lanta.
Oh, Dennis and
But-
Jim, they cracking me up in chat. Oh,
Yeah.
goodness.
No, but for me,
He's fully
I
functional. I mean,
exactly, and like I brought it up in a couple previous episodes. That could also mean he's got the sperm. Where it's coming from, no idea.
Zach and Dave, was it last week when I said, we should talk about the interspecies mating ritual when it comes to the aliens that we seen in Trek. We should discuss, pardon my pun, but the ins and out of not just humans, but like we all know that one species, their sex organ look like their knees, and it's like, oh, those was his sex organ, not his knees. Just how
In
how
Babylon
could that?
5, the Centauri have like 5 penises.
pretty much.
And they were like, you
Oh
only
my
have one?
God!
I'm so sorry. What show? The show I just was watching.
And evidently, Klingons
That's like part of
shouldn't
it.
be with a
They're
human.
like, when you go to a planet, the doctor has to just give you okay that, hey, yeah, you guys can, everyone can screw these people. Like it's a common thing. Like, oh, shore leave on Beta 3. Don't have sex with them. Or Beta 3, yep, you can have sex with them. Here's, like they get a briefing on how to or whatever. I forget what show it was I was watching, but it was
Voyager.
Called a tutorial of what to do, the do's and don't of.
But it's like a common thing, and this whatever show I'm watching, I think it's a newer show. I don't think it's Foundation, but I don't know. But it's like when they land, the doctor can brief everybody that it's okay.
Just don't dip your willy into the sauce before.
Well, the first episode of Babylon 5, the commander goes into the bar and he's like, "Oh, you need to stick to the list, bro."
Yeah.
Like everybody gets a list when they come on the station. He's like, "What are you, bigot?" He's like, "No, but you've never been with an Ardassi. They eat the person after they have sex with them." And he looks at the chick and she's like, so he's like, "Stick to the list," like I said.
Yeah, but no, the episode of Voyager was the disease when Harry was falling in love with that one woman, and then he started to glow after they got.
And that episode where Trip got pregnant.
Yep, we talked about that episode
talked
a couple
about
months
that.
ago.
And the
That's one of
Klingons all
Katie's
laughed
favorite.
at him. That was the funniest thing when the Klingons like laughed at him. I thought that was
Yeah. He just like,
It's like,
"Ah,
Man, like, you got
we're gonna
knocked
kill
up.
everybody, and he's like, "I'm pregnant," and they're like,
Dave, your final thoughts about
Well, I loved all the subtle nods to what would be coming in later series, namely the number one, the holodeck. Why the holodeck hasn't been a thing. Towards the end of the episode, I made one little note when La'an finally figured it out that Spock wasn't Spock, and he was the one that was killing everybody in there. I could swear the musical cues was from Strange New World or from the Lower Decks.
Really? I didn't
Yeah,
catch
just like
Huh?
the little horn just da 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 da. And it sounded like of course I can't sing worth shit, but it definitely gave me some Lower Deck vibes.
I like the
to this.
creepiness of that scene where she figured it out and Spock.
Oh
was like,
yeah, yeah. She's hugging it, and she's like, "You're not Spock." Yeah.
remember when on Deep Space Nine when Odo figured out that Kira wasn't Kira and she
Yeah.
was the chick? That scared me when she like looked up
Dude.
and smiled.
Oh yeah.
That was so. It was like, the same vibe there where she's like, "You're the murderer." He's like,
Well, it wasn't the murder. She was the changeling was the M.Key raider that he and Kira were chasing.
"Yeah." The rock. She was the crystal that was killing her.
Yeah.
That look. When she's like, and then she's like,
Just that's,
Oh, I loved that. That was beautiful.
yeah, that still gives me chills when it's
yeah. Heart of Stone. That was another episode we talked about not too long
Yeah.
ago.
Yep, Heart of Stone.
But
Heart of Stone.
But yeah, so next week though, I haven't read a lot about what this next episode's going to be about. It could go either way, but through the lens of time, it gives me an idea of there's wibbly wobbly involved. I'm not certain. Ortegas looks like she's got a new hairdo there, so
Yeah.
But yeah, it looks we got another.
Interesting.
I think Scotty, Martin Quinn, I want to say is the actor's name. Saying he's listed as a regular cast member, so he's going to be there all season. So just wondering what's going to happen with Pelia, because obviously she's going to step down at some point, because Scotty himself said that the Enterprise was the first starship he was chief engineer. So it's not a matter of if, but when.
I love Kirk's mustache too. That 70s mustache just rocks.
Oh yeah, Sam Kirk. Yep, and we know he survives because he doesn't die until a taste of Armageddon, but the TOS episode where they got the flying little fish stingray things.
Monsters, yeah.
The mustache needs to die. Somebody needs to kill it dead.
No, forever.
Yeah,
doesn't it though? When
No, somebody needs that mustache needs killing dead.
Unfortunately,
doesn't in TOS
Jeremy. He gave me the Ron
a little
Jeremy
bit
in the 70s.
but
it's 70 like a 70s, kind of. Now it's kind of slimy, but it was
See, the thing is, I'm also used to seeing that actor completely clean shaven, whatever I've seen him in, and I do love that actor. I can't even think of his name now off the top of my head, because all I've got in my head is Kill the Mustache Dead. But no, I do love that actor. I'm just used to seeing him clean shaven, and those type of mustaches, I call those the porn mustache, because they are just they don't suit anyone.
You mean they're the pee tickler? They're the pee tickler.
The what? They're the what?
I said they're called the pee tickler. I'm not gonna say the word out loud, but tickler.
We're almost at 3 hours. You can say it.
If you get a mustache right, they tickle.
But
I'm completely lost.
Oh,
Whisker Diddler.
Whisker Diddler. It's like a band.
Yeah.
Dude, I would form a band
I'm
to
lost.
have that name. Just to have that name, my band, I would make a band.
Oh, let's do it.
We're Whisker Diddler.
penis.
There you go. We'll just.
No, say or what a guy gives another guy oral.
Yes, Dennis.
Are you getting it now, Katie?
Oh,
Or
now I get it.
Or a guy gives a girl, then it's a tickle.
Ah, right, now I get it. Thank you, Dave.
no.
There's always a cherry cheesecake. Don't ever go to urbandictionary.com. Cherry cheesecake.
I'll take your word for it.
Is that like a lemon party? I used to
no.
message people. I'd be like, "Oh man,
No, I would
we went
mess
to a
with
lemon
people
party
that-
and all they had were blue waffles." It's like, what?
Yep.
Look it up. Ah! Yeah.
You
I've never heard of a cherry cheesecake.
I don't
do
want. I
whatever
don't
you
want.
do,
You
probably
know
won't
what?
do.
We're 3 hours in. It's when you take a girl and she's blowing you. You nut up in her face and then you punch her in the nose. I read that. I was
oh my
rolling.
god.
I'm like, where do these people come up with this shit?
Oh my
It's
land.
horrific.
It
I
is.
thought it was
Hey,
when you-
guess what?
I thought it was
That
when
could
you
be a
go down
Cherry
holodeck
to the
program.
hole when it's
cheesecake.
that time of the month.
That could be a future holodeck program simulation.
Oh,
You know,
God,
somebody can
that's-
program.
That's probably the AI app that's going on right now. All these AI
Makes me
girlfriend
even
bots.
more glad that I'm a dyke.
But Dennis is asking Zach about your podcasts. So you want to give those a quick plug before we call it good for the night?
It's called The Legacy Ride. It's on YouTube and Rumble. So just look it up.
Do you have the link? Is
Dennis,
there a
if you
link
like.
or something like that? Is there a
Yeah.
link to
Yeah, hold on.
you plug the link in for us and everything else? And just real quick, recap everything, guys, you can interact with us live each time we're on, visually, audio, or in chat.
Mhm.
You can, you can, come in and give us your thoughts, opinions, and whatever you want to about the topic at hand and stuff and everything. And sometimes we can go a little off track and everything else, but we always seem to circle back around and we try to maintain our best to keep to the topic at hand and stuff. But like, if you want to come in and enjoy, conversation with any of us, we are always appreciative to anybody that wants to join. That is, with that said, that is not going to be disruptive to the stream and everything else and stuff. We like to try to respect each other, even though we don't agree with each other's opinion. We try to respect each other as individuals.
Absolutely. Yeah, same, but
And we have fun
yeah.
doing it.
Oh yeah, and I am now able to stream live on X/Twitter, so yay for that. Actually, our numbers have jumped up dramatically for the live viewership, so it looks like I might
I'm
have done
glad.
the right thing in
Hey,
that.
Sean, Dennis, Jim. You guys was in chat, but Sean came in, to talk with us live. And we appreciate, and I appreciate, your thoughts and your opinions and stuff and everything else, because the more outsiders that we get, we just have fun with it, and thank you for coming on.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's like, yeah, we're at 3 hours. They say we're reaching record territory for talking about an episode. I think still we talked about First Contact that pushed over 3 hours. So
Dave, I made a little something for the end of your show, and I don't know if I can get it up on my screen or not, but I made this just for you for your show closings, and I don't know if that can work or not, but you're welcome to use that if you want.
okay, see if I can.
But
you can check me out. Show Sean on YouTube, Twitter. Also, that's nice. Also, me and Zach are on World Blockchain Roundtable on Thursdays.
Every Thursday.
Yeah, which is hosted on his channel. Mine, it's early. If I get up on time, I stream it. If not,
see if
you
it'll
can
let me
always
download
see it
it.
on Dragon Chain, their channel.
Okay.
And I had to dig up those fonts too. I had to look up the fonts that were.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's awesome. Thank you. I might. But that just gives me an idea for doing something. But like I said, I'm planning on
I
an
can send it
idea.
to you. You're welcome to use it.
Yeah.
anytime.
Yeah, I don't think we'll have to be dealing with any copyright issues if it's like. I think it's like if it's less than 6 seconds. Saying we don't have to worry about any copyright situation.
For image copy, yeah.
But it's interesting.
But you might have to give up your ID.
If you talk about it, it's free use.
We'll figure this all out and everything else.
Yeah.
Like Tyson said too. Don't forget too. This is a Dave's show is a show that was originally from our sister, or I should say our parent show, which is Dangerous Thoughts.
Yep.
Oh, right.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah, Dangerous Thoughts by Manu Intiraymi, who
Yeah,
played
I see
Icha
that.
in Star Trek Voyager for 2 years, and his co-host is Ticin Strausburg.
Who was on the show earlier?
Yes, and they usually have a variety of round table talks. It's not what we do, but they talk about stuff that could be hot topic buttons, and then sometimes it could be like things such as the afterlife or something about UFOs.
Did you say light
Just
things?
something and stuff like that.
Hmm.
Huh?
And-
We
Did
cover
you say
all
light
sorts.
things? Did you say
Light-
light
all
things?
sorts of
light
stuff.
things like the afterlife? That's
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Afterlife, the
yeah,
paranormal.
but it's not
um,
light.
From politics to pop culture to
light
everything in
things
everyday
like pop
life.
culture, not light things like the afterlife. That's
Yeah.
But astrotheology has
it's
been a topic a couple of times, and sometimes
Yeah.
we get big name actors that come on. Like Thor Nemec was on one of the earlier episodes of it, but
Oh,
guy.
he's a darling. He's lovely.
but they are working on
Called-
retooling it. It's going to be they're doing like a whole bunch of doing the live show. They're going to do pre-recorded stuff. There's Dangerous Thoughts Library, which they're working on, which essentially it'll just be one of them just sitting there reading a book. You'll just watch them reading a book, and you'll think, "What?" Like, or laugh or cry, like, "What the fuck?" And saying
aren't you going to try to get Manu to come back on the show?
on a future episode, yeah.
On a future episode. So, stay tuned for that, guys. Manu Intiraymi, who played Egypt in Star Trek Voyager, you get to interact with him in a future, show.
And also,
heard something outside. So what the heck?
And also check out Manu's hip hop group Click Tight as well. I am totally addicted to them. They've got some new stuff coming out towards the end of the year. Manu goes by the handle of Mickey's son. He's got solo workout as well, everywhere you stream your music. I don't like hip hop. I can't stand it, but I absolutely adore Click Tight. So please go check it out. If I can like it, anybody can. So yeah, please check out Click Tight.
Yeah. Otherwise, you'll get the Gowron eyes.
Yes, I will judge you in Klingon.
Will you be speaking Klingon?
Actually, that is a funny story because when I was in a massive argument with my ex, I actually called her a patak. And it ended the argument there and then. Our daughter knew that I spoke in Klingon, but Jackie had no idea.
As Michael Dorn said from Family Guy, you can all suck my ridges.
I like glory to you and your house. Guys, man.
Yes, that's nice.
Yeah.
But guys, this was fun. This has been a really good fun talking episode, and I love the participation, everybody enjoying and stuff and everything else. This was this is going to be one of the one of the highlights of my coming week, I should say, because this has been a really good time, fun, good talking episode, talking about like not just the show in hand, but like real world stuff that the what if probably and stuff and everything else. We got to do more of these. We got to do more. Hopefully, whenever you guys have free time, Dennis and Jim, Sean, Phil, Zach, we all can find a little time to spare out of our busy lives. It's fun to get away and just talk about like little things like this that we enjoy, because one thing that brings us together, the common denominator, is Star Trek.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And we have the love for Star Trek.
And I adore you guys, Oh, Jesus Christ. Squirrel cam is on.
Jesus loves you too.
Jesus fucking Christ, I don't know what's going on with my camera again. But no, I
Yeah,
absolutely adore
unplug it
you
and plug it
guys.
back in again.
You never fail to cheer me up, and you never fail to break me in some shape or form. And I adore you for that. I thank the Cosmos Daily for you all, and I appreciate you so much.
Well, we appreciate you, Katie. I appreciate you being my co-host. So much love to you. But until next week, we're going to sign off. If you guys want to stick around off backstage afterwards.
Iris, goodbye.
What?
Iris, goodbye.
Irish goodbye.
And Iris,
We'll
goodbye.
just do the regular, just like.
Tips isn't here. We can't do an Irish goodbye.
Mm.
Alrighty,
I could do a Vulcan finger, finger
sarcastic
scissor.
Boltons.
Look, man, quit talking about your weird sex acts. Jeez.
Until next week, everybody. May Spock be with you.
Toodles.